Show with Irish. Show with Irish. Show. Sometimes it's good to just yell about football. What are you doing? Don't do this to me, Harry! The Ohio State. It's Ohio State! What do you mean, the? It's a poison! I almost stroked out and died over it. I'm glad to be at the party. I'm mad we're this late. You ain't a captain of nothing but a sinking ship! That helps the defense without them even doing a damn thing! Doing a damn thing! The call-in line. 312-988-15. You tell Johnny all you've heard and seen. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. No Irish. Irish. Yeah, that's right. Woo, baby. Yeah, that's right. It's almost here, everybody. Football time's almost back. The Ireland game or whatever is tomorrow. Although I gotta say, you know your boy Johnny over here. There's nothing I'd like to do more than crack an ice cold Miller Lite and watch Florida State in Ireland, right? It's the Ireland game or whatever. There's nothing I'd like more than that. But I forgot it's our daughter's birthday party. We're having a blow up house for the kids to jump in. And we're having a whole bunch of 3 to 4 year old little girls come over and eat pizza and swim and go in this jump house or whatever. Johnny Boy's going to have to record that one and look forward to watching it later, but it's all good. We're going to get through it. Man, there's a lot going on in Notre Dame land. There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on the field. There's a lot going on with recruiting. There's a lot going on with the media. There's a lot going on with the fans. And trying to parse through it and find the tangible realities that we think we know going into this game and this season, it's getting harder to do than ever. It is going to be a very, very long next week. It's going to be a very, very long next week. There's so many moving pieces, so many questions without answers. And there's always questions without answers when you go into week. Do you even like pizza? I mean, mostly cheese. There's always questions going in. Angela, good to have a Rudiger here. It's always check it off the bingo list first thing in the morning. There's always questions entering week one. Always. I just feel like there's way more than there usually is this year. With Notre Dame, because of the O-line instability and all that and what it's caused, pretty much all of camp turned when that happened. And it all became, how is Notre Dame going to navigate that and withstand, whatever A&M's going to throw at you or whatever. And think about it. The whole thing, follow me. The news was, the wide receiver thing, it looks like we have real bodies there and a real rotation, and it's a lot healthier of a situation. And it was think about the main media-driven narratives that you've been seeing. It was pump it up that wide receiver group. It's a real representative group that's going to be able to help Notre Dame and actually function, maybe even look like a real world wide receiving group, whatever, blah, blah, blah. That was all the articles and all the talking points, whatever. The O-line situation happened, and everything since then has been through that framework. Everything since then has been through that framework of what is Notre Dame going to do there? How are they going to navigate this? How big of a deal is it? How bad of a matchup is this? With Notre Dame's offensive front undersized, underexperienced against whatever A&M's going to throw at you. I've been hearing, Elko says it's the best defense in the country. And all this stuff. There's a lot of questions, you guys, more than usual. And we got to get into this. Phones are up. 312-988-15 dialed up. Tell Uncle Johnny, you've heard and seen. Here's the deal. We got to get through a couple announcements here. A couple of callers. We're going to come to you. Jay Lehman, nicest guy in Notre Dame land. And there's a lot of nice people in Notre Dame land. Nicest guy I've ever met. Jay, you know what would make me feel a lot better? Could you just be mean to somebody? Could you just be mean to somebody? It'd make me feel a lot better. Like less of a bad person. Can you just be mean? Be mean to me. Be mean to somebody. You're too nice. You're just too nice of a guy, Jay. Every other tweet Jay puts out is some thoughtful thing about how we can all get along and respect our differing opinions in life and football and politics and everything else. Just be mean to somebody to make me feel normal, Jay. What a nice guy. I feel blessed just to have him in my ecosystem. I really do. As always, you can find the program on YouTube. Do it. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Appreciate it very much. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps Yanni Boy out as well. Notifications on, you know why, that way you are alerted every time a new episode drops. I know you don't want to miss nothing. Twitter. Search bar, always Irish. Rats, always Irish. Emails, always Irish. ND@gmail.com. That was a good one. Audio only, anywhere you want it. You can get it if you don't want to see my face. Ain't nobody going to blame you for that. How about this? Sports Illustrated. How about Notre Dame Fighting Irish by SI? Google it. We're averaging 10 to 13 articles a day. That's our content load. We're not even into this season. 10 to 13 articles a day pumping out of that Notre Dame Sports Illustrated site. We keep it going, baby. We got recruiting covered, breaking news covered, opinion pieces covered, whatever it is, national stuff covered. We got it. You want it, you got it. One-stop shop, baby. One-stop shop. Check it out. Thanks to everybody that's been over there reading the articles. Appreciate you. We got good traction so far. And don't forget about patreon.com/always Irish. It's the former captain. He the leading tackler. It's Mike Goolsby and myself. Breaking it all down. And the energy's picking up over there. We have some really interesting features we're going to start releasing for we have some really interesting stuff we're going to start doing on Patreon with film breakdown with Goolsby, one of his former teammates. We're going to do a live chat thing where you can ask questions and interact with us. I think we're thinking maybe a Monday Night Raw situation where that's what we do and we just open it up, all this kind of stuff. So it's going to be really interesting. Thanks to everybody over there. The phone banks kind of starting to fill in. We got a handful of callers so far. I'm going to give you guys your time. So let me get a couple key points out that I want to address, a couple of the chats, then I'll give it to the callers and we'll kind of go from there. So here's a little news for next week. I don't want to forget this. I want you guys to think about this. Stay tuned with programming for next week. It is the week of the first game. We're going to do some special stuff. Stay tuned. So there may be a surprise episode here or there with certain features. We may go live during the week in the evening. Like I'll still do my morning show. Stay tuned. We may do a big program. We may do a big program in the evening and do a live stream and have a lot of different features and people coming and going. So stay tuned for that. Tomorrow night, I would like to go live. Depends on the kids' party and all that. I may not be able to. J-Car, something like that, where we may have an open house and people coming and going. We're seeing what we could set up. I also plan on interviewing a Texas A&M reporter, getting the inside scoop from how their camp is seeing this ball game. We're getting into game week and we got new features, baby. So, yeah, there may be some sort of crossover event, something like that, if we could get it scheduled with everybody. I want to hear from an A&M person to see how they are looking at this matchup and how they're thinking about it. Jay Carr says, as Michael Jordan says, blank them kids. Go live tomorrow. Like, yeah, that would be, John, what a jerk I would be. Like, we have all these kids running around the yard and they're just going nuts. And I'm like, yeah, I'll see you guys. I'm going to the basement to record about football. Oh, that's funny. That's funny. But I'm trying to do the right thing and be a part of it and do all that stuff. If we have time and the party ends, we'll go live tomorrow. If not, we're not. Here's the other thing you guys are going to think is funny. Mark with glasses, everybody's going to think this is funny. If you watch this show a lot, you know that ever since Sam Hartman showed up, Michael McDonald has been a bigger part of this show than I ever thought he was going to be. just because Hartman looks like him and it's fun for me to change the words to his songs. Bro, I'm going to see the Doobie Brothers with my parents Sunday night, and Michael McDonald's traveling with them. Sometimes he doesn't, and it's like the old rocking version of the Doobie Brothers, but Michael McDonald's playing with them on this tour, and it's just going to be hilarious to see because in my mind, I'm picturing this dumb show. Conundrum says, don't block Commander Luke. Well, I have news for Commander Luke. You're not allowed to come in here and criticize and insult my employer that pays my bills and think that that's okay. All right, you guys, like I told you, I could take a lot of heat about my football thoughts, or you disagree, or John, you're wrong, or whatever. What I cannot allow here is I log in, and before the show even starts, I have a whole bunch of chats insulting my current employer. I can't let that fly. Sports Illustrated. I can't let that fly, Mike, to answer your question. That's what I'm referencing. And I log in to do the show one of these days, and he's ripping them and insulting them up and down in a whole bunch of these chats. I can't let you do that. I can't let you do that. So I'd be happy to unblock him and have him come back, but you got to get serious about, like, I'm just not going to let you do that. I can't let you do that. It's crossed the line. John going to be in the next swimsuit edition? I hope not. I hope not. Mike says, what has Sports Illustrated done? Maybe you have not been here lately, but I signed a writing contract with Sports Illustrated. So now when I write articles for them every day for the Notre Dame website, and I also link my videos into the Sports Illustrated ecosystem when I'm done with them. And therefore, I can't let you come in here and make fun of them and rip them and everything like that. So you got to get serious. John and Freeman on the next swimsuit cover. Give me a break. Is Deuce going to be at the tailgate this year? I don't think so. Unless I'm going to an Auburn tailgate. Then maybe. So maybe. Yeah, maybe. If I'm doing that. Yeah. Oh, man. Maybe I'll go to Auburn and I'll dial up some of the numbers that Hugh had in his phone there, and you could see where he could have the ladies at the tailgate. All right, let's do a couple super chats. Then I'm going to give it to the callers, see what they think. Let's see what we got. I see A&M is favored by 3 now. My online research shows the favored team wins outright 77% of the time. ND better be ready for this moment. Oh, that's my lawyer. $20 holler again from Eric. Final score, Notre Dame 21, A&M 20. A&M scores late and misses a 2-point conversion. Leonard is MVP. Love runs into a wall all day because the O-line is terrible. Eric, are you trying to give me a stroke first thing in the morning? This whole scenario you just strung out is stroke territory for Johnny Boy here. 20-21, 2-point conversion. Love runs into a wall all day. What is that? Like, that 2-point conversion things make it giving me Notre Dame, Miami Catholic convict shades in my brain. Wow. Wow. $10 holler from the V1 rotate. For everybody who thinks a really good defense can carry you to the playoffs with no offense, may I present to you the University of Iowa. Also do one live stream game where we can all chat. Yeah, I'm thinking about doing that too. Haven't we been running with $2 holler? John, did the bettors have inside info? I don't know. I think once the O-line issue happened, then anything that was going to happen in action on that line started trending to A&M, right? Like if you already had any Notre Dame doubts or whatever you had, once that injury happened, and then you're pumping up A&M's defensive front, then everything started leaning even further over that way. So I don't know. And Again, we're doing this thing. The Honey Badger was a 3-star, and like these lower guys that you could get, and is the star ranking matter, whatever. There's always going to be outliers to the star thing. But there is a stat. If you look at like NFL draft or whatever, the percentage of them that were 4 or 5 stars is really, really high compared to those 3 stars, diamonds in the rough that end up having good, like whatever. I just think there's always outliers to it, but I would feel a lot better with a wide receiver room full of 4 and 5-star guys than guys that aren't. And then you hope that they like develop or whatever. I don't know. All right. Here's what I think. I'm going to do my little thing here. I know I already said that. Here's what I can't believe. Here's what I cannot believe. Notre Dame people still cannot agree on anything. We cannot agree on anything ever. We never agree on anything. And we're still in this place where nobody agrees on anything. So this O-line thing, hang in there, callers. This O-line thing, I did that video I released the other day, 10 ways to work around this offensive line to be able to get production, and run a functional offense, even if you're having offensive line worries and they're getting pressure or whatever. I brought up 10 different ways Notre Dame can negate that, could work around that and still have a functional offense. And I got a bunch of people saying, I'm totally overreacting. It's going to be fine. The O-line's not going to be overwhelmed. We're giving A&M too much credit. They're going to be a mess. Don't worry about it. Why are you putting this in everybody's head? Why are you putting this in everybody's head that the default setting is going to be that the O-line is going to be totally overwhelmed and getting blown off the ball and all this? So I got a bunch of people that are in that camp saying that this is totally overblown. And then I got a whole bunch of other people messaging me, emailing me, texting me, going, this is going to ruin the year. We're screwed and we're going to lose this ball game. I'm just telling you, man, that's how much this fan base varies on opinion. Everything from you're doing Notre Dame and Notre Dame fans a disservice by putting out videos referencing that A&M's going to be good and tough and why are you scared of them and respecting them and this needs to be a blowout and whatever. I'm getting a bunch of those messages. A bunch of those people that believe that A&M is this is all hype. Vegas is wrong. It's again, I know you guys don't like it. Year 1, game 1, people are saying there's no way they're all put together. There's no way it's all going to be great for A&M and we're overvaluing what they're going to bring to the table. All of that. Then I got people saying this O-line thing is a fatal problem. When you have this amount of youth, this amount of being underweight, undersized, you're not going to be able to hold up and the season's going to be ruined because of that issue. What are the realities of this? What are the realities of this situation? This is what we're all waiting to see. Nobody knows. You have both of those camps. And I've seen both of those camps written, talked about, even with the media now. I have brought up some of the Notre Dame media even is hedging now. It's starting to slip into their podcast or their writing, Notre Dame could lose this one and we could still feel really good about them. I'm just telling you, I'm starting to hear some of the Notre Dame media sphere shift some of this to kind of get it in people's minds. Notre Dame could lose this one and you could still have a really good team here and feel good about it. And they could still be a playoff team. I don't know how you feel about that. I'm a little surprised to hear the Notre Dame people spinning this now, dropping the line in the water to get it in your heads. This is going to be a tough place to play, and they got a good defense, and it wouldn't surprise me if we can lose and still feel good about this team. Mike says that's true. It might be true, but I refuse to accept it. It might be absolutely true, Mike, and I refuse to accept it anyways. Like they made the people saying Notre Dame could lose this ball game and they could be a perfectly, really tough team you're proud of and still be really good and have a good year and everything. That may be 100% true, and I don't want to hear it, and I don't want to read it, and I don't care. And I'm not listening to it. Win the ball game. Win the ball game. Year 1, game 1, week 1, year 3, game 1. I'll say it for the 90th time. If you are not further along in a program in year 3, game 1, than a guy in year 1, game 1, you have real program problems and you're nowhere near where you need to be at all. You're nowhere near where you need to be. I cannot be more direct about this. I mean it sincerely. If you don't have your program humming along further down the road, more established and ready to go win now, in game 1 of your 3rd year, compared to a guy game 1, week 1, year 1, you're doing something wrong. And maybe all that is, it just tells you don't have SEC talent. Like if it all goes sideways or whatever, maybe what goes wrong is it just tells you don't have enough quick twitch SEC talent. I don't know. Maybe it's you didn't recruit offensive line good enough, like I've been complaining about. I've been seeing people say, and then we'll go to the calls. I know I'm bad with that, you guys. It's just hard. I got stuff I want to get out, but because once we go to the calls, the show's it's not my show anymore. It goes to you guys, which I love, but I got to get in when I got to get in or I don't get it in. I'm just saying, you guys, like that O-line thing I'm really, really struggling with. I've seen people be like, you cannot blame Notre Dame for this because you don't expect to lose both of your tackles early. And then you have an injury. So, I mean, what do you want Notre Dame to do or whatever? My response is you got to have somebody else you like competing between NFL level and like freshmen. That's my argument. And I think that's a reasonable argument. Why are the options NFL level leaving early and then freshmen? Where are the real guys that can compete in the middle? I don't think I'm outrageous by asking that question. It cannot be NFL draft guy and then freshman. Where are the competitive players in between all those years? That's my point. So I don't know. What do I know? So anyways, Kyle Hagan, $10 holler. John, just found out yesterday, I'll be bringing a new Irish fan into this world next May. Let's go, Irish. Congratulations on that. $10 holler. What is this? John's gaslighting himself. About what? About what? What am I gaslighting myself? I just don't know the realities of these situations. I got a 618, a 412, a 615. You're all coming up. I don't know the realities of these situations. I just don't. And I don't want to overvalue A&M and get in our own heads. I also don't want to undervalue A&M and walk in it. That's the problem, guys. We're on that line. We're on that line. And I don't think you want to walk in there and you want to undervalue them. Oh, no big deal. We'll walk in there and expect to just blow them out or blah, 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 blah. And that's irresponsible. But I also think it's irresponsible to go in there scared of A&M and, oh my gosh, we can't compete with these guys. We're going to lose for sure, blah, 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 blah. That denigrates Notre Dame. I think the reality is probably somewhere in the middle with these teams. Somewhere in the middle. Who makes the least amount of mistakes, plays solid football, plays good defense? Who puts up touchdowns instead of threes in the red zone or in the scoring zone if both these defenses are going to be as good as they're saying? If think about it, if both these defenses are as good as people are saying, who takes advantage and scores, sevens instead of threes? Ronald McDonald says, I'm not sure we could win. We could win. You just got to do the right things. You could win. We just got to do Notre Dame absolutely could win. We just have to do the right things. And I got news for you. For as long as I can remember, in every big game moment, we don't do the right thing. So if you're worried about that, you're justified in your concern. Justified in your concern. I got a bunch of people saying our kicker's automatic with field goals, and then I got other people that say that it's been a struggle and he's inconsistent. So which is it? Who's hiding under the bleachers recording it? Like, I don't understand how both can be true. I've been told he's automatic, Mitch the machine or whatever, and then I got other people telling me it's been rocky. What's the damn truth? What's the truth? Somebody tell me. I don't know. Our fan base is so negatively soft. Here's the thing, Irish fan. What is the evidence to be firmly on the positive side for Notre Dame in a big game moment? I would like to know that. Like, you could say our fan base is so negative all the time or whatever. You need to answer to me, though, in your retort. What in recent big game moment Notre Dame life gives you confidence of Notre Dame to deliver in one of these type of moments? That would be the question you got to answer to me, because I see why a lot of Notre Dame fans hedge on the negative side to protect their emotions. Because for their whole lives, most of them under 440 or under, most of their lives, every big game moment, Notre Dame has let them down. That is the default, and it isn't our fault. It isn't our fault. It's the history. Oh, you mean 2020 Clemson when they didn't have the best player in college football playing and we beat them, and then they came back and crushed us when they did have that player? Is that the one I'm supposed to put on the mantle? Not so fast, my friend. I don't even know if that's the point you were trying to make or not, but not so fast, my friend. Are you kidding me? You're going to hold that one up on the medal and act like you're ignoring that the best player in college football and the top quarterback wasn't playing in the game we won, and then when they came back and had him, we lost? Come on, man. You got to do better than that. You got to do better than that if that's your example on the high end, is only winning because the best player was injured. Come on, man. You got to do better than that. Oh, it's got to be better than that. Winning the second game would have been that. $2 a holler. We got to think about this matchup next year, too. Let me worry about one thing at a time. Then I'm going to the calls. Let me worry about one thing at a time. The following year, yeah, you got him at home, but you're giving Elko a whole year to get settled in and get things cooking. So you get the home field advantage, but you're giving Elko that one full year to get his feet set and figure everything out where exactly the levels of A&M are at. That A&M team's going to be a lot better in year 2 than they are year 1, but you do get him at home. You do get him at home. V1 rotate. Elko is not a game 1, year 1 coach, though, like Freeman was in 21. He's not inexperienced. He knows how to coach to win. Freeman is still buying the ball, I guess. But I'm separating out like overall experience in coaching from coaching this group of guys or this team and understanding exactly what you have. He's going to be figuring that out in the moment for the first time, right? Like, obviously, Elko has a bigger book of knowledge overall on how to be a head coach in this or that. But with this team, he doesn't exactly know what he has yet until you see what you have. When you got 28 transfers in and you're doing all that, like, you think you have a good idea of what you have, but the realities of it, you're not going to know till you see it against Notre Dame. There's no way to know that. All the experience in the world, you still only think you know what you have until you see it on the field when it's year 1, game 1, week 1, and you're walking into it. And if you have a lot of experience, maybe you could be really good at gauging what you think you have. But you really don't know till you go out there and see it. Again, game 1, weird nuance mistakes. Who makes game 1 mistakes that could cost their team? That you're not going to make 6 weeks in? Miscommunication, mistiming. Who makes those mistakes? I don't know. I don't know. All right, we got some callers here. 412, what do you want to do? Everybody on the line, stay tuned. 618-615. Andrew, I got all you guys. 412, what does it do? Good morning.
Hey, John, good morning. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing very, very well. First off, I'd like to thank you for giving me a call back. Unless I'm wrong, my call log says October 7th of last year. So we're looking at almost a 1 year, break between calls here. A lot's changed in Notre Dame land. Some things stay the same. I want to know what's on your mind. Thanks for giving me a call back. Appreciate you.
Of course, man. I've been getting hyped for this season. I've been watching all the streams. Notre Dame fans were very cynical. I've watched Notre Dame lose for 31 years, so I get it. But we're in a good place right now, and this could be a huge statement for Marcus. And I'm telling you, I got a prediction here. First play action, 80 yards deep to Chris Mitchell. Shut the crowd up early and quick. We got the veterans on D. We got the depth. They're saying we need to be scared of their D line. This goes both ways. We're a week away. Let's let the play speak for itself. I'm fired up.
Yeah. And one of my, you brought up kind of offensively what you maybe want to see. One of the most interesting parts of this game to me is going to be what is Denbrock's offensive approach for Notre Dame, considering the offensive line hesitations and the concerns you may have. I'm ultra interested to see what his approach is going to be. Are they going to try and go up tempo a little bit to knock off that pass rush, the timing a little bit, and get those guys running around there out of breath a little bit? Like, are they going to try and run the ball and establish that to ease into the game and can see if they can get any wiggle room there? Or, like you said, did they take a shot and try and shut everybody up and flip the field or whatever? He could go a bunch of different ways. It depends on his trust level or anxiety level with that offensive line. I can't wait to see what Denbrock's going to do. I have no idea what he's going to try and approach this with. No idea.
I'll tell you what, I have a feeling he's not going to do what we've done the last 5 years and run it 2 straight downs and then hope the tight ends open on third like we've been talking about.
Yep.
I think he's going to spread it out. Riley's I don't want to rely on his legs too much, but if the run game's not working and it's 3rd and 1, I'm telling you what, I'm trusting Riley to put his nose down and get that essential yardage.
Yep. No, I'm with you.
A kid's a baller. He's a battler.
He's
a
the
tough
thing,
kid,
though.
and I think he wants to make a name for himself on the big stage. What a better time to do it than week 1.
Tell me if you agree with this. All games are not built the same. I need Riley Leonard laying his body on the line, any short down yardage or whatever, RPO keeper, whatever we're doing. I need him to lay his body on the line to get every yard available against A&M. And then the next week against Northern Illinois at home, I don't need that guy running the ball at all. You shouldn't need him running the ball at all, and take as least hits as you can and expose him, reduce the exposure to him any way you can.
100%.
Do you agree with me? Like, all these games are not built the same. A&M's the one you got to win and get any way you can. That means you need to risk Riley Leonard's ankle and everything else. He needs to go for it, like you said. And I think his legs are going to be a big part of the game plan, either with RPOs, rolling out the pocket to move some of that, to get away from some of that pressure off the line, off the edges. And I think just enough to make A&M's defense have to make a decision or freeze to commit to come to him. Or I just think his mobility is going to be a big part of this.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Because next, week 2, we can run the ball more. We can do more things, but week 1, it's a must win for your season. You don't want to lose these guys' spirits losing week 1. So, do whatever you can. If one thing's not working, don't take too long to adjust. Do what you got to do to get first downs.
Yep.
And, hey, 3 points is better than no points.
Man,
so we don't need a touchdown every time, but let's keep the ball moving.
Here's something you just mentioned. You mentioned adjusting. And I think that's going to be one of the big areas where Denbrock makes the biggest difference. Notre Dame struggled to adjust last year. The game plans entering a lot of these games were already not good. I know they were limited by the wide receiver room, but they were already not good, very vanilla and boring. And then when that didn't work, we seemed to have nowhere to pivot to get out of it, to get a functional offense going in the game or after halftime adjustments or quarter to quarter. Denbrock should be much better at getting a plan going that starts us off in a better place. And if it gets shut down or we're having trouble, adjusting on the fly. I think that is a strength of Denbrock that is invaluable. I don't even know how you measure how important that trait is in an OC, being like, I see what we're trying to do and it isn't working. We need to adjust. He doesn't coach scared, and he's seen it all. He should be able to find a way to figure this out. I need it.
I need it bad, man. We need this win. I don't want to. This season would be terrible if we lose week 1. So I think they'll get it done. I trust our coordinators much more than theirs. Our coordinators will help Marcus through this a lot better than, because he's a first-time coach. We're still learning. Marcus can't win on the road. It seems like he can't get these guys ready. So hopefully this year is the year, and I'm just excited for next Saturday.
What about this defense? See, that's where my mind goes, is I am expecting some struggles on the offensive side with that line. Like, I don't know how bad, but I'm expecting some frustration and struggles there with that matchup. Flip it over. This may be one of those ball games where that Notre Dame defense needs to maybe carry the night and do a lot of the heavy lifting. And you know what? I think they can. And I think they should be in a position to do so. I think that Notre Dame defense is going to enter this ballgame with a chip on their shoulder. I think they're going to have this mentality of like, everybody's going to like crap on us because we're not an SEC defense and we don't have the speed to compete and keep up with these guys or whatever. I think there's guys in this Notre Dame defense that are going to take that as a personal challenge and take that as an offense. I do.
That's what our D's been doing. That's what our D did last year. I mean, they bailed us out of so many situations, and it's time for the offense to do something about that. It's okay. It's one thing when you're playing, I don't know, Central Michigan last year. It's like, yeah, the defense doesn't have to do much, but we need it to be on both sides of the ball. We can't have the defense just saving our ass and keeping us in the game. I think they'll do that, but we also need to, produce some points. I'm not worried about the defense at all. I'm worried about this offense, but
yeah, it's going to be really interesting. And dude, I don't feel like anyone has an idea on how good A&M's going to be. I just don't think anybody has any idea. And like, we have a kind of an idea of the strengths and weaknesses.
Well, their quarterback hasn't played. He's been hurt.
Yeah, but like we have,
right?
Like
they lost their second running back. They got issues of their own.
I have been hearing like that Wegman was a 5-star guy and really good when he could play. Like people are sleeping on him and he got hurt and fell off the radar. Now he's back on and he's a 5-star guy and he throws with impeccable accuracy and all this. Like, I just don't know the realities of this A&M situation. I really don't. And I understand too. Elko's been really, I was watching an SEC show and they were talking about Elko felt like the A&M program's been so overexposed with the media and with the pay for play, the idea to kind of buy that defensive line of all 5 stars and win off that and whatever, blah, blah, blah. And now he's going the other way, shutting it down, not letting the media see a lot of stuff. It doesn't really seem like it doesn't seem like anybody's seen a ton of A&M to really have a clear idea what they're going to get. I have no idea.
I know. I have no idea as well. I don't know what else more to say, but it can't be. I can't wait for this next week to pass by. At least we got some football tomorrow to get us through. But
dude,
once that ball kicks off, then it's go time. And
how long?
Hopefully we'll have
Saturday's going to be
fun
so
late
long.
night show after the game.
Saturday's going to be the longest day of all time. You're going to watch all that football during the day. You're going to be, the clock's going to feel like it's standing still. And you're going to be like, oh my gosh, is it nighttime yet? Like, people are going to be pacing up and down their hallways. Like, it's going to be rough. And I hope if we emerge victorious, I have some fun things planned for the post-game show. And if we don't, then it's all scrapped and it's all ruined and we'll all be miserable. So we're just going to have to see which way it goes. But I got some fun stuff planned if for the first one. If it goes well, we're going to have to wait and see. Anything else, my friend? Thanks for touching base. I really appreciate what you got.
Of course. Yeah, no, I was just going to say, hey, hopefully it's a good night for us. So I'm excited for the show after. I'm going to let you get to the next caller. I'm glad to have called back again, and I'm glad for football season to be upon us.
Oh,
Thanks
man.
for doing what you do, and you have a good one.
I really appreciate it. Thanks a lot. At a post-game show soon. Crystal clear phone lines. You know how I feel about that. I really appreciate it. Nathan Caldwell. Look at this. Look at this. Yeah, really nice caller. Nathan says, Texas A&M fan here. Been watching this channel for a few weeks and a huge fan. Nathan, I really, really appreciate that. I don't have a big overlap with any of the SEC because Notre Dame just doesn't like overlap into that circle often. So I don't have like a big overlapping audience or anything with SEC people or A&M. I've really had no reason to engage and so it's been really, really interesting jumping in here, and it's really good to have some people in. Nathan, what can you tell us? If you're an A&M fan, you've been watching my show, you understand the kind of middle ground we're in of trying to figure out the levels of where Notre Dame's entering this game at and where A&M and Elko's entering the game at. I would love to know if you want to put in the chat or call and let me know what's the news coming out of A&M. What are the beat reporters letting you guys know from practice? What are the strengths and weaknesses? Like, I would love to know. D-line for A&M will be a problem. I understand that. Like that, I'm baking that in. I want to know, what about A&M's offensive line? Is that worry reflected in the mirror the same way with, like, is anybody in A&M land saying, you know, Notre Dame's got a good defensive front. We may be in trouble here if our O-line can't hold up. There you go. A&M O-line will be an issue for us. So, like, I feel like I am not saying Notre Dame has the raw star talent, literal recruiting star talent up front on defense that A&M has. I'm not saying that. But I do feel like that defensive front is a strength for Notre Dame. And if A&M's offensive line is having trouble, Notre Dame could take advantage of that. It isn't as obvious as the other way around because they have all those stars. So I don't know, you guys. Pat mentioned, is he going to be able to do his score prediction live before the game or whatever? Pat, one of these mornings next week in the morning show, why don't I send you the link and you could hop on live on video, even if it's just for like 5 minutes to go over your pick, break down why, and then you could get off the link and go back to work and listen to it. Why don't we just do that? Matt Radke, good to see you. I feel like it's been a while. Maybe I'm wrong about that. Good to see you. So Pat, maybe that's what we do. I'll send you the link, pick a morning show. Come on, do your pick, give a reason, and then you could go, do your work stuff and just listen from there. Because I definitely want to give you that time. 615, make it come alive. What's going on? Welcome to the show.
What's going on? It's been a minute since I've called, and I'll be honest, I'm calling a little fed up this morning. If I could describe Notre Dame's fan base right now, I can only think of a sound, and it's like, what's going on? Is this not, first, let me ask you a question real quick. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Is this not the University of Our Lady?
Oh, it is.
It is, isn't it?
It is.
Is this not Notre Dame football, historic football program?
Yes.
With Mike Denbrock, Al Golden, a whole lot of talent coming back. We haven't seen these guys play, and we're already defeated. Thank God. Thank God. The players and the coaches do not share the same opinions that the fans do. I'm going to say that right now. I don't understand. This is the most talented team I think I've seen Notre Dame have, maybe since 2005. 2005 was a very good team. The defense wasn't very good, but the offense was very good. This is the best offense since 2005, I'm thinking. Who cares about the offensive line? We don't have Jack Cohn. We don't have Sam Hartman. We don't have statues back there. We have Riley Leonard. They're going to figure it out. We just got to survive and advance. That's the same thing Texas A&M saying as well.
Yeah.
They're looking around. I mean, Texas A&M, you go on their sites, you go on their boards, they're like, oh, we're going to crush them. I don't see the disconnect there. I don't know why Notre Dame fans are instantly, any big opponent that we have, pulverized. We've already been beaten before we step on the field. It makes me sick to my stomach, man.
Wait, but you could certainly understand why, though, right? It's just muscle memory, man. Like, I mean, Notre Dame has failed in these big moments most of my life as a 40-year-old. And here's what I feel like, man. I sincerely feel like a lot of these people want Notre Dame to win. In the back of their mind, they think Notre Dame could win. But to protect their emotions publicly, their default is, I'm worried about it. It could go all wrong because they want it. They don't want to get their hopes up high, only to be burned by Notre Dame again. And the most painful moment, having 10 guys on the field instead of 11, or the Bush push, or whatever else horrible thing could happen. Like, I just feel like there's a large segment of the fan base that hedges emotionally to protect themselves from the next big Notre Dame big game letdown. Does that make sense? I don't love it. I don't love it, but that's what happens.
Like it was famously said once, the only big games Notre Dame plays are the ones that they lose. Because they have what you see. I understand 2020 Clemson, that one doesn't get thrown in there. But what about 2022 Clemson? When they come to home, what were they? Were they not like a top 5 team? Notre Dame pulled their pants down and spanked them.
Yeah.
What about USC last year? We know what happened after. I think Notre Dame is the reason USC failed last year because they completely whipped their butts, spanked them all over the place. Oklahoma, nobody remember that game? Notre Dame came out of the gates and beat their butts as well. I'm really like not understanding where I know that, okay, they got beat by Alabama and Clemson. Who doesn't? Or who hadn't during that time?
Yeah.
We're a victim of circumstance. I get it that they can lose. Like, we have a bitter taste in that conference championship. Brian Kelly could never take us to win that next level game. He never could. I agree with that wholeheartedly. But this new coaching staff with Mike Denbrock and Al Golden, we have the best coordinators in the game of football right now. Hands down, 110%. And Mike Denbrock, I mean, are we forgetting what he did with LSU last year? I mean, I know our offensive line is a worry, but it's Notre Dame. We have good offensive linemen.
Yeah. Now, okay. Now you know. Now you know.
October or November.
I got to push back just to play this fair because it's a good conversation. You know what the response is to. You saw what Denbrock did at LSU. The first response is going to be, we do not have the same talent that he was working with at LSU. Like, we don't have that jackrabbit deer at quarterback that's going to, win the Heisman. And we certainly don't have those top round draft pick wide receivers and all that on the outside. So that's going to be the pushback there, is you're not dealing with the same amount of talent. Then you throw in the offensive line worries. And where does that leave your offense? That's the pushback against what you just said. How would you respond to that, my friend?
We don't have the same level of proven talent. That is true. But I will say that we do have talent. It may not be Malik Neighbors. Okay. I never claimed it was. It's not Justin Jefferson, but Chris Mitchell's a burner. We have burners on the outside. Jaden Greathouse is good. Jordan Faison, that dude is a real. He's not proven yet. Jordan Faison I'm telling you, he's playing at the next level. He's doing something. Chris Mitchell is very good. And are we forgetting about Riley Leonard before he got injured? He had Notre Dame on the ropes. That Notre Dame defense from last year, the one that always bails us out. Notre Dame was almost 8-4 last year because of Riley Leonard, if he didn't get hurt. If he did not get hurt on that drive, they were going to go down and score. Notre Dame would have been done.
Yeah. Okay.
110%. He was moving the ball.
So let me ask you this. And I'm not being sarcastic at all. I love hearing everybody's different opinions, where they're coming from on this game. Are you being undervalued? Or are you thinking A&M's being overvalued? And it's perfectly fair if you tell me it's a blend of both. It's perfectly fair if you honestly tell me I think it's a little bit of both. But I'm wondering if it's weighing more, maybe more one way than the other, you think. What just happened? The phone line literally just zapped. The heck? Hold on. The phone line literally just popped. Did anybody hear that? Hold on, everybody. You might have to call back in. Let me see if I could get back on the line. I heard it literally pop in my earphones like zzz.
Thank you for calling Call-In Studios host and call screener line. Please enter your show or meeting number and
Let's see if I could dial back in and hook back up with everybody.
enter your 6-digit PIN number.
Okay, let's see.
Welcome, host. You are now in the host room and can manage your callers from the Call-In Studio web interface.
I have no idea what happened. Did you guys hear that? It literally, I heard it zap and I thought it was his phone, but it was mine. It went zzz on the phone. I thought it fried my phone. Pat's saying, John, you are very calm about this. Yeah, dude, Xfinity just cut me off because they heard me complaining all week. Chief. Chief, how did you know my password? 696969. Yeah. Cue the Billy Madison. Yeah, 69. Dude, come on, man. What's going on? Who was that? It was 615 Make It Come Alive, was it not? All right, let's see if I could get him again. Is this you? Do I have you back?
Texas A&M's hacking the Xfinity phone lines right now.
Dude, I don't know what. Literally in my headphones, I heard zzz, it like I thought it literally fried my phone. Anyways, back to our discussion.
Undervalued, overvalued, right? That's where we left off.
Yep.
And I think it's both. That's what I was saying right there. Is I know Connor Wegman's like 5-star. I've seen a lot of 5-star quarterbacks. I mean, how many are really that great when it comes to it, especially under the right tutelage? We have to. Mike Elko's a defensive-driven guy. I don't even know their offensive coordinator, to be honest. He's not putting any fear in my heart. I don't know who they have on the team. I can't think of anybody that sticks out when I go home scared. Their defensive line is good, yeah, but so is Notre Dame's. Notre Dame's defensive line will be top 10. Their secondary is probably the best. I don't buy into Ohio State having the best secondary. I think Notre Dame will have the best secondary this year. And the linebacking core, I got a lot of faith in that as well. And then not even to mention the offensive talent that's around it. Notre Dame's being very undervalued right now. Not too much, but I get it. It's because of the offensive line. Like, I understand that. But also, it's not – this is week one for both teams. New coach. I know Elko has experience being a coach, but he's got a new team. And this is Mike Denbrock and Al Golden. Like, that puts – if we had Jared Parker right now with Riley Leonard, I still wouldn't be defeated before we even see the team play.
Yeah.
So I'd be like, all right, well, I'm a little nervous. But, I mean, Mike Denbrock's the guy. He has been the guy. Look what he had with Cincinnati. His Cincinnati teams were great. I mean, what did they exposed Marcus Freeman, right? That was that 2021? Yeah, when Cincinnati came and beat Notre Dame. Wasn't that here at home?
Yeah.
I mean, that was a Mike Denbrock offense.
Man, okay.
Desmond Ritter. That was a mobile kind of quarterback type.
All right. So I assume with your positivity, you believe the majority of people are over worrying about the Notre Dame offensive line problem, and you feel like the combination of a better wide receiver group, Mikey Denbrock's football brain, not afraid to coach offense the way Parker was, and Riley Leonard's mobility is going to offset any of that fear you have about that offensive line getting pushed around. Am I reading you right? I don't want to put words in your mouth.
It's not necessarily like I'm not saying the offensive line won't get pushed around. I'm not saying Riley Leonard won't get hit a few times. But I'm saying that more often than not, Riley's going to shake out of it, or we're going to have a nice quick hitter right here. I mean, Jared Parker, Tommy Reese, we're running duo and trap right into 5 guys just barreling down on our running backs. Mike Denbrock, we're not going to be doing that. They're going to be getting these quick hitters on the outside. They're taking yards so they can get it. I agree with what the caller said earlier, or what you said. It's like, hey, take what you can, getting yards. This isn't going to be a pretty game. But I just don't, it's not even about I'm not trying to make people believe what I believe and the faith I have in this team. I just get fed up hearing us get beat before we even step onto the field.
I think that's fair.
0.
I think that's totally fair. And everybody's entitled to have positivity before anyone's lost a game. Everybody's entitled to positivity. I do agree with you, though. especially in the Freeman era, by far the most well-rounded roster that he's had. By far, it's not even close compared to the first 2 years. And I think people feel really good about this coaching staff, particularly with both coordinators. How much does that play into this game and the preparation for this game? I agree with you. It's the best roster they've had in a long time, but I'm still really worried about that O-line ruining a lot of what they want to do on offense. But I agree with you. It's the best roster they've had top to bottom and depth-wise in a very, very long time. Anything else, caller? I appreciate your input very much.
No, nothing else really. I just say let's wait to see the game played, and then I'll let you get to the other callers. But yeah, I just want to say, I'm confident right now. I'll be calling back in a post-game show after a big Notre Dame.
Dude, that was the final thing I was going to tell you is, as you get off this line is, if Notre Dame wins this game and everything goes according to the way you're saying it, I need you to call back and say, I'm that guy that called and said you were all overreacting. You know how much I'd love to take that call. Make sure you dial me up if it happens, okay? Yeah. And I'll remember that area code, baby.
I'd love to make that call. I would love to make that call. I'm a Notre Dame fan through and through.
Give it to me, man. Thanks a lot, man. I really appreciate it. Have a good weekend now. Take care.
You too. Bye.
I'm telling you, man. These people, everybody's all over the place. I don't know what happened with that phone line. It was weird, dude. In my earphones, it was like, it literally sounded like somebody cut the line. $5 holler from Rads. John, do you have the Christmas card ready to send to Troy University? I'm telling you, that was the blessing of all blessings. It was the blessings of all blessings. Like, I'm trying to be respectful and nice about it. It really was. I didn't see that coming, and I didn't really feel like Freeman was going to pull the plug here, and this was a way everybody ended up winning, where he kind of got a promotion and a head job. We got out from under Parker, struggling to find his footing. It worked out beautifully. And then Notre Dame ponying up to go get Denbrock. That part all worked out in Notre Dame's favor. Freeman was able to save face, not have to admit he made a mistake with Parker, not have to fire his friend and the wives are best friends, and then he got to kind of get a promotion and go be a head guy. It all worked out. BK spotted with the Hawk Tua girl. Why do you even put that in my head, honestly? Look at this. Serge is from Italy, and I appreciate Buongiorno. Is this a frozen pizza brand? Giorgiano, Buongiorno. I'll take it. Serge, it's amazing what the internet can do. It connect us all the way in these different countries. Look at that, rooting on the Irish. I like it, even though I can't pronounce that, whatever that word is. Look at Jerry Reinsdorf. John can't even handle a phone line. Who is he to be criticizing my ownership skills? Always Irish frozen pizza brand is crazy. Why is that crazy? Giorgio, what is it? Papa Giorgio? What is the Georgia? One of those frozen pizzas close to that word. It means good morning. Oh, sorry, Andrew Gilmore, world traveler. Ooh. What do you speak, Italy? My name is Andrew Gilmore on the north side of Chicago, and I'm calling you from a fancy 5-star Italian hotel with the finest minks on. And then I gave it an accent that has nothing to do, and it doesn't sound anything like the accent from anybody from Italy. But bro, what are you speaking Italy on me? Yeah, a scusi. There, I could do that one. A scusi. Bro, how cultured am I? Seriously, how cultured am I? Picture me flying to Montreal, Picture me at 25 years old working for a medical technology company, and they send me to Montreal for some conference, bro. And everybody's speaking French, and I'm walking through the town like I have no idea what's going on. Everybody's speaking French. Give me a break. Scusi. Be Giorgiano. What is the pizza brand? The frozen pizza brand that's good. It's not Giorgiano, but it's something like that. Whatever. Oh, 386 in the mix. Andrew, I got you. I want to know what you think today. 386, what's going on down there in Florida?
What's up, John? How's it going, man?
Oh, man, I'm trying to not. DiGiorno. That's exactly what I was thinking of. Yeah, DiGiorno. Scusi. When we win, I'm going to eat the DiGiorno. Anyways, bro, what are the realities of this? I know the way you consume and think about Notre Dame football. What are the realities? Are we overvaluing, over-fearing A&M? Or are we over-worrying about Notre Dame's O-line issues? Is it somewhere in the middle? What are the realities of this?
To be honest, I don't know which way to take this, right? Like, I want to be confident year 3, game 1, to be like, this is our moment to go make a statement. But at the same time, I have those 30 years of pain where it's like, do I want to set myself up for this again? Like, how many times can we go through this? But good Lord, that's where I'm at. Like, we're a week away now. I'm in the middle.
Yep. And oh, man, I think it's not delivery. It's a DiGiorno. 724. Stay with me. I want to get you on too. So dude, I just don't, everywhere you look, there's these vastly differing opinions on this. It's just, is this Notre Dame or is it everybody where the fans and the media, nobody can agree on how things are going to go or how good anything is or bad it is? Like, I feel like nobody's agreeing, and you have a big segment of the fan base that's saying Notre Dame's going to blow these guys out. I don't understand the big deal, why you're all worrying. And then there's a whole other group that's like, this offensive line is going to ruin everything for the year. Notre Dame's screwed. What are the realities? Like, we have to wait a whole nother week to find out what the truth is.
I think that's what it is, too. Like, just get us to the game, because you've been saying it for weeks. The game is going to provide the answers. We can talk about it all we want. We can listen to the beat writers all we want. We will not know until that kickoff happens and we get rolling. Yeah. And that's ultimately what this is going to come down to. We got to see results. That's what we're waiting for. And if we don't, it's going to be the most frustrating thing ever. But this is the moment, dude. Like, this is the moment for us to take a hold of this opportunity and make the most of it. Go make a statement. And then just let the rest of the season roll.
But man, doesn't it just seem so uniquely Notre Dame that we find ourselves in these really tight spot, weird situations right when you're like, okay, this is going to be the best team Freeman's putting on the field in his 3 years by far. I think we all agree on that. A lot of us love the staff. Hard to find a 1-2 punch at the 2 coordinators you like and trust more. Feel good about the depth. You have some youth in here. Like, the roster feels pretty solid. But the one thing that could go wrong to cause a lot of worry happened, and it's an offensive line issue going into this environment, into that stadium with that defensive front that's supposed to be their strength. Like, the one thing that would be the worst thing that could make everybody worry about this from the Notre Dame end has already happened. And I feel like it's got everybody in their own head. Nobody knows what to expect at all.
100%. And the Notre Dame aspect of this game is, of course, it's A&M on the road, right? Like, it's not Northern Illinois at home. We have this O-line issue. So you're right. It's all in all, again, here we are in the most Notre Dame position we could possibly be in, to where we're thinking it's only us, right? Everybody else has got a relatively good game week 1. Of course, there's some other big matchups, but the stakes are always at the highest for us. It always seems that way, right? And to be honest with you, this is like the biggest game that I felt in a while. Like, even this is almost bigger than Ohio State last year, in my opinion. Like, this is huge.
Man, I'm really struggling with this. I'm really struggling with this. See if you agree with me. This game does not dictate the entire year, but it feels like it dictates the entire year. Did you agree with me? Like, it doesn't. You could lose this game and still make the playoff and be a really good team or whatever. But it just feels like this one outcome is going to be the directional arrow of the whole year, whether it's really good or ends up into blah. Like, I just feel that, man. Like, it's just a really important moment.
So I agree with you. And my question back would be, do you think that Marcus and the team feels that as well? Like, do you think that they know, like, there is almost everything riding on this game?
Man, I really do struggle with that. And I talked to Goolsby about this. 407, stay on the line. I want to get to you too. We haven't talked since April. I want to see 407. Goolsby brings this up all the time because we do our Patreon and I talk about things from my media lens, my YouTube lens, my fan lens, or whatever. And I bring up these concepts. And a lot of times Goolsby will say, John, time out. And he'll go, you are assuming that the players and the coaches feel and see things the way you do as a media member and a YouTube guy and a fan. He goes, we don't worry about all that stuff you guys are talking about. We don't read all these articles and hear all that stress and everything. Like, we're doing what we need to do to prepare. So in a lot of ways, they're insulated from a lot of this. But in some ways, you can't be. They got to realize what this moment means.
They've got to. And that's a super valid point because the season's not over. Like, God forbid something bad happens. It's not over, and the players, it's a long season. They've got everything in front of them still. But I think that they definitely know how big of a moment this is for not only the program, but for Marcus and just for the season overall. They've got a huge opportunity in front of them. And it's, the more we've built this roster and we've come up, and a caller mentioned it earlier, Riley too, we've got to think, like, he's got a big moment in front of him that literally could set his Notre Dame year just off on such a bright spot, right? So I think he's really going to be aggressive and wanting to perform super well. And I think that's going to trickle down on the whole team. And as much as I do want to be super confident, and I am, there's something that's kind of holding me back a little bit, right? Just being a fan for 30 years.
Yeah.
There's something just holding me back just a touch, but I feel like as the game gets closer, I don't know. I probably will be a little bit more confident, but we'll see. We'll see how this next week goes. It's going to be a long week.
It's going to be a really, really long week. And I'm with you. I'm with you on all of this, man. Like, I can see the plus side of Notre Dame succeeding in this moment. It's time. You have the roster. You have the coordinators. You have a more mobile quarterback. Like, I could see it all coming together. But you and I have sat through so many Notre Dame road games in tough environments where it's just gone totally against us and the fans are loud and we get overwhelmed, get off to a bad start. You're chasing from behind the whole night, blah, 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 and it just goes against you. We've seen that play out 30 times in 30 years or whatever. Like, we've seen this play out a million different times in the same way. We need to get a different result this time.
We do. And here's a good question for you. Do you think that we're going to find out relatively early in the game, like say first quarter's over? Are we going to be like, all right, here we go again? Or, okay, this looks different and it looks like what we want to see. Do you think that that's going to be the case?
I don't know. It needs to be. Here's the other thing. It
needs to be. Dude, I can't do this anymore,
yeah,
dude. I cannot do it. I can't do it anymore, John.
You're not going to like this. You're not going to like what I'm going to say. I don't feel like Notre Dame teams under Freeman don't play good on the road. They just don't. The history of Freeman teams is they play a lot better at home than they do on the road. Even with the Marshall and Stanford situations, they still play a lot better at home than they have on the road. You cannot afford to go into this environment and not be ready and be overwhelmed by the moment or the heat or the loudness. And you can't afford to go in against a roster that has the talent A&M does and be asleep for a quarter and a half. You got to be ready to go this time.
From the moment it kicks off, you better be ready. Like, we better see results early and be like, okay, we're turning the corner here. I'm totally with you. We need to see it right out the gates.
Yep.
Do not sleepwalk through the first quarter. Be down. Get off to a hot start. Be aggressive. Show that you're turning the corner. Show us something, right? Yeah. Give us that. That's what we need. That's what we're looking for.
Yep. That's what I'm looking for. So, and you know what would be really nice is make a big play early. You know, if you're on defense, get a good 3 and out to start the game. If you're on offense and we get the ball and they're loud and they're jumping around and whatever, and put together a long drive and take some of the steam out of that crowd, put up some points. I'm looking for Notre Dame to go in there and make a point early that this is going to be different. And this isn't just a Notre Dame team that's going to fold in the moment in the bright lights. Go in there early and somebody make a big play to where Notre Dame has leverage to early in this game. And the other team's got to chase us. Usually we're doing the chasing and we put ourselves behind the 8 ball early. I'm sick of it.
Well, and 100%. And let's go in there and act like the premier program that we are. We should be premier compared to A&M at this point in the programs, right? Go in there and act like it, right? Show up, like you said, make a big play, make a big statement, get off to a hot start to be like, look, if you don't bring it A&M, this is going to be all night. Like, show that. Like, show that to them, you know? And, dude, when are you going to make your predictions? Is that going to be next week? Or what?
It's going to be next week. We're going to do something with Sports Illustrated where, you know, it's like a roundtable thing and everybody makes their predictions. So we're going to do that and then we'll log them. I'm also doing something with college football talk with Pete Futek on national, like not Notre Dame's games, but all the games picking against the spread. I'm going to get in that this year too. So then all my picks are going to be logged. And so we're going to find out over the year the tally of if I'm off or on this. So it'll be sometime next week. I don't know, man. It is a really, really important big moment for Marcus Freeman in this program. And listen, be realistic about it. The recruiting has trended away from Notre Dame the last month and a half. The fan base has been agitated about that, as starting with the wide receivers. We whiffed on all of them. That you lose your top defensive guy to Michigan. You have all the Deuce drama. That has Notre Dame fans in a bad mood. Then you have this issue at O-line. Notre Dame fans are entering this game in a bad mood. And I understand why. Things have not been trending in our direction.
And I didn't want to bring up recruiting, but God, if we can't afford this in so many different directions, let alone recruiting, like the number one thing.
You're right.
Go out there and show these recruits. If you're thinking about Notre Dame, if you're even on the fence about us, about anything, go make a statement as a team, as a program, that we are turning the corner here towards elite. That's what we need to see. If we want the recruiting to turn around, go out and show it on the field. Because if not, it's going to be the same thing over and over again that we've seen for 30, 35 years. That's it. You want to change it. The only way you change it is with the results on the field.
Yep.
That's my number one belief right now. And this is the most anticipated season in a while. Like, I've been excited for these seasons since I was a little kid. 12-team playoff. There's a lot riding on this year.
Yep.
And I'm just fired up, man. I'm excited for it.
Man, it's going to be this is a big moment, and we're going to see where Notre Dame's at here. There's a lot of pressure on Freeman. You got to deliver, man. You got to deliver. How many what?
He's got to deliver. But we've got what? Are you going live tomorrow night?
Depends how long the kid's birthday party, but it depends. I can't promise it.
Fair enough. So we've got at most 4 live calls left, 4 live shows, if not 3, before we do this thing. That's what it's come down to.
Baby, man, all those summer months, all the winter months, all the spring months, all the wondering, and here we are. It's a big moment, and I need Notre Dame to be ready. Thanks for touching base, man. We'll talk next week. Give me a call back for the game.
I will, 100%.
Have a good one. See ya. Oh, man. I don't know, man. You ever play these games out in your head? Play these games out in your head, and you have you feel like you might have an idea of how they might go or whatever. I can see this. I can just see this going so many different ways. Like, for us, again, like if it goes well, I could see in my mind how that it goes well, how it would shape pull together. And if it goes bad, I could totally see how it goes bad because it's gone bad for like 30 years. Like, I could see how it goes bad. Man, this is interesting. Look at this. Riley Leonard throws a pick six, 2 strip sacks, and we lose 21-10. Oh my gosh, Chief. Could you imagine the call-in lines here? Woo! Woof. 407, what's going on? 224 next. 724-618. You're all coming up. 407, what's going on?
Good morning, John. Happy Friday. How are you, sir?
I'm doing very, very well. I'm excited for football, man. I'm excited for football. I can't wait for it. It's been, and we need answers to all of our questions. Where are you coming at this from?
I don't know, man, but kind of just piggybacking off what you said about how you kind of see these games playing out based on the history. I hate the way I see them play out, like most fans probably do, because you see the worst case scenario that we've seen too many times, man. Kind of hoping that it's like the previous caller. Hope we open up, do something dynamic. You know what I mean? Maybe roll out, toss a bomb down the field, even if it's overthrown. Just kind of stretch that defense from the get-go so they know not to stack that box. And I think if we do make a good play like that on the first play, kind of similar to the FSU game in the early 2000s. You remember that at Joe Campbell?
Yeah.
He opened up and just nailed them right down the field for a bomb.
Yep.
Beautiful way to start the game, set the whole tone. None of that box stacking crap. They had to respect the pass out the gate. I think we need to be aggressive out the gate.
Oh, it's going to be so interesting.
That's what I'm hoping for.
It is one of my number one things to look for this game is what does Denbrock what is his approach going to be for Notre Dame offensively to start out? What does he think they could run? How is he accounting for that offensive line? You know, the uncertainty there. What is he confident we can do and not do? I just think, I don't know what we're going to get.
I think you're going to get a lot more than you got last year. Straight out the gate. I mean, Denbrock is very creative. You know what I mean? He knows how to use what you have. And I think that's the biggest thing. At this point, we can have great players. We need great players. We're getting better players. The development and the skills are only going to be utilized if you have the right scheme. So, I think we have the right guys on defense and, with Denbrock at offense, man. I think we have enough to utilize what we have and be effective. I mean, you got a lot of talent. You can use a lot of these backs out in the flats. Definitely got way more to offer on the receivers on the outside this year than we had last year.
Yeah.
Still not where it needs to be. But, I mean, I think we're going to see more of a balance this year where the only team that's going to beat Notre Dame is themselves this year. I know that sounds real cocky, but that's just how I feel because based on what I'm seeing, our defense is solid. You know what I mean? If they're locking down as good as last year, as long as we got 11 men on the field every single time, you know what I mean? The offense with Denbrock, we can put up some points and put up points and scheme to put up points against good teams, not just trash teams. So
that's it.
I think
you
you get
nailed
that
it.
balance, man.
You nailed it.
Yeah, you don't put
it.
so much pressure on the defense to get exhausted and have to win the game for you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And with Leonard's got that mobility, man, as long as the guy doesn't get hurt. And if he does, just if we stay on the side of optimism, I mean, we got Carr behind him. We got Minchie. You got, obviously, Angeli. You know what I mean? And obviously we want Leonard to do fantastic being the damn Heisman race. But, at this point, we just need a quarterback that doesn't do dumb shit. You know what I mean? And can do something.
But, dude, you're bringing up – here's what I've been thinking about. I'm driving around town, whatever, thinking this through, how it could go, how it could look, how it could feel like everybody else is. I'm picturing all these big game moments where Notre Dame's fallen short. And in most of them, Notre Dame's defense does enough to keep them in the game for as long as they can. But the offense is so ineffective against defenses with real talent. And it's so vanilla and there's no answers to what the defense presents Notre Dame. It's almost like you need to block a punt, run it in, and the defense needs to pitch a shutout for Notre Dame to win against an athletic defense or a good team. Imagine what this could look like if Notre Dame plays their really good defense and actually has an offense that can move the ball and look like the real world against the better teams we play. Not Navy and Central Michigan. again, or a mid-level Big Ten team. I'm talking about a team that has real athletes on defense, but you're still able to move the ball and look like a real world team. We have not had that presentation in a big game moment in a very, very long time.
No, we haven't had the balance. And that's what we were talking about earlier is there's balance this time. I mean, time will tell. We'll see week one. And as the season progresses, if we're wrong on that, but all the pieces are in place. I know I've been saying that since the last time we talked back in April. The pieces are in place. The right hires have been made. You know what I mean? Now it's just time to see it on the field. And I think you have the experience on the coordinator positions to get this done and have the balance that we've been missing. Even when Kelly had dynamic offenses that could literally score just about on everybody, excluding, the Alabamas of the early 2020s. You know what I mean?
And both Georgia's
scoring everybody.
No. I'm mad about both Georgia games where the defense kept you in them and the offense just couldn't score enough. Both those Georgia games were very winnable for Kelly.
The same thing with Ohio State. And I hate to keep bringing up Ohio State, because nobody wants to hear that anymore. We want to move past it, but it's just a fact. There was not enough offense in that. Ohio State could have been beaten and beaten convincingly. Anybody that's an Ohio State fan in the chat right now is probably talking shit, but they know it. They know they escaped that, and they should celebrate it. Yeah. Notre Dame lost it for themselves.
Yeah,
you're a schmuck for losing it like that.
Yep.
You know what I mean? But no, the Ohio State fans know, holy shit, we got away with one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that's because Notre Dame couldn't do shit on offense. Sorry for the cursing. You know what I mean? They couldn't do anything on offense. They couldn't move the ball. So the balance this year is the difference. Games like that, you would probably see a 10 to 17 point.
All right. Okay, so then let me ask you this. This has been brought up to me multiple times through my writing and calls. Okay, multiple. John, are you worried that we as Notre Dame people, the collective Notre Dame people, meaning the local beat media and the fans, are we overvaluing Denbrock? Are we overvaluing what Denbrock's going to come in here and be able to do? I've had a lot of people push back on me and say, John, I don't know what you think you're getting with Denbrock, but he don't have Jaden Daniels and a bunch of first-round picks athletes from LSU that are in the NFL on offense. And they're saying you are expecting Denbrock to come in here and change a lot of things, and you might want to tone it down. What are the realities of that? Is that fair or not?
You can do a lot with less when you know what you're doing. I don't care what you got in your tool belt or what you got in your toolbox. If you don't know how to use it, you have the greatest players in the country and not know how to scheme properly. This guy knows how to scheme. He's going to know how to do more with what he has. And by doing that, he's going to put us in a direction where people see how dynamic the offense can be with less talent. And then the better talent is going to want to gravitate to that. And Notre Dame's going to have an opportunity to do that if the defense and the offense balance this year. If the defense stays stout like it is, or better, or even as last year, and the offense is dynamic and is putting up points on everybody, and is literally in every game and blowing out the teams that they should blow out because of that balance, then I think that's going to change the trajectory of the program even more. We have the right pieces. We've got the right people there. Who else are you going to put there? That's a good question right there, John. Everybody wants to complain. Who else are you going to put in there as a coach if Freeman fails? Who else are you going to put in there as defensive offensive coordinator? You've got this. What are you going to go get Nick Saban out of retirement? That's what everybody wants. Go get Saban.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I mean, you're literally talking about levels like that. And people go, but it's Notre Dame. They should be able to get whoever they want. Exactly. They're getting who they can get that's willing to take on the position at a high level, that has experience.
Yeah.
So if these guys can't get it done, I don't know what else we expect. You know what I mean? Hopefully they do. Otherwise, we're all going to barf.
Yeah. Listen,
you know
Pat says, I think we're overhyping Denbrock. We will be better on offense, but not to the level we want. I'm open to that too, to where it is going to be better with the game planning and the adjustments and the creativity and having a more expansive playbook that makes a defense play Notre Dame more square and straight up. But I could also see where, especially week one, if their defense is really good, we don't get as much as we want. I could see that as well. So that's maybe an in-between answer that I think is kind of maybe realistic. I could see that.
Good point. I don't think it's overhyped though, John. I don't think it's overhype. I think the guy has proven he's got a Heisman Trophy winner under his belt. I mean, I think that speaks enough. You know what I mean? The guy can coach. We have, we've got two really good coordinators and a young head coach that knows how to put the right people in the right positions, and he's doing that slowly but steadily with what he can, as fast as it literally can go at this point. So it's never going to be to our liking because everybody's frustrated. But here's an example. Look, anything better than what we saw down at Clemson last year, I think should put us at ease. I mean, we literally couldn't move the ball. It was disgusting to watch. It was frustrating. It was anemic.
Dude,
anything's got to be better than that.
Here's the
These
thing,
guys
man.
in the chat could probably do better than that.
Here's the thing that
last year
we literally ran right into their strength defensively and never changed it. As the game went on, we did. As the game went on, we played more into their strength. They were selling out everybody to crash the line because they knew we were running it right up the middle and we're never going to do anything else. They had everybody on the line, crashed it, and we didn't adjust or do anything. We didn't even try and do anything different.
We had, and everybody knows this. I know we're preaching to the choir with the Clemson game, but everybody that watched that game knows Clemson gave them multiple opportunities to beat them.
Yeah.
It was like watching, the Bad News Bears playing each other. I mean, it was terrible. And the fact that Notre Dame lost it made it even worse. But here, on a positive note, I think we're going to see a much more dynamic offense. To what level, time will tell. I think our defense is going to be impressive to watch.
Yeah.
And I think we're going to be a lot better than everybody's worried about.
I hope so.
First game, I feel confident Notre Dame can win that game 27-17.
There you go. Opinion. Oh, there you go, man. That's a 10-point win.
I really do.
Now, 10-point win, and also you're scoring a decent amount of points against an athletic defense, not like 10 points or something. I could live with that. Great.
Right. Because I know there's O-line problems, but you have a mobile quarterback. You've got dynamic backs. And you've got some, guys on the receiver on the perimeter and stuff. You can spread them out, you know what I mean, and try to loosen up that. It's not like last year, hopefully, when we're lining up and like we were talking about, we're getting the box crashed where everybody's just stacking the box because Notre Dame can't even throw a 5-yard pass. So just double the tight end and hope he doesn't out-jump everybody.
Yeah, that's it. That's it. Literally, that was it. Dude, that's our 3rd down and 8 play every single time. Is you hit the tight end over the middle. That's it. Yeah, exactly. 1st and 2nd down, boring runs with no blocking, and then 3rd and long, the crossing tight end over the middle, and that's Notre Dame's offense. And if you could stop it, you're probably going to beat them. I'm sick of it. Good call, man. Anything on the way out? Thanks for touching base.
No, man, I really appreciate it and excited about the season. I think we're all ready to get this going. We're a week away, so hopefully we go down there, get a win, and have a great season, man. I'm excited, nervous at the same time. Go Irish.
I love it. Give me a call back next week before the game or on the post-game show, okay?
Will do. Take care, man. Bye.
Beautiful. Appreciate it. It looks like our Texas A&M guy's going to call in. I want to let Andrew hop in and then go on with his workday. I'm going to pop Andrew in, and then 832. I really want to get to you and hear what we have from the A&M perspective here. Andrew, what's going on? Welcome to the show.
Hey, what's going on, John? How are you?
Oh, man. Andrew, you can, yeah. Scusi. I'm from Italy. Oh, my name is Mario, Luigi, John. You're not fancy enough. Anyways, Andrew, you can feel the energy, man. Everybody's getting turned sideways. Their brain, their emotions, it's all cranking up. You can feel that it's almost here. What are the realities? Are you confident in anything? What do you think we know?
Well, I just think it's bizarre that, because I'm, in terms of in-game coaching and some of the decisions made during the off season, I can be really critical of Freeman, but I'm shocked. Like, all these people jump down my throat when I can be critical of Freeman, yet like the confidence level in the chat is just so low. It's ridiculous. I have a ton of respect for Mike Elko, and I think some people are, I think, underestimating A&M, and I fully expect Mike Elko to already have his team, mirroring his persona. So, I think that this game next Saturday is going to be a war. It's going to be a real war. And I think it's going to be very similar to the Duke game, where Notre Dame's going to have to really. Can we stop pretending like this is 2022 and we're going into the horseshoe playing Ohio State? I mean, like, let's get a grip here. You know, who on the offensive side of the ball is scares Notre Dame? Notre Dame's a top 10 defense. And last time I checked, it's the most veteran defense, I think, probably in Notre Dame history. I mean, you look at their front, you look at their defensive line. They're not only seniors, they're super seniors. They're two guys that they begged to come back, Riley Mills and Howard Cross, who could have absolutely got drafted, and they're back. Then you got that guy Oben. Then you've got Botelho and some young guys coming up, and then you've got Morrison and Watts in the secondary. I mean, we should be super confident. Now, I do think that it's kind of ridiculous. Some of these phone calls, calling in saying that they expect Denbrock to be dialing up all these awesome plays. I don't see it that way. You got two tackles who, one of them's a true freshman, and the other guy, who's supposed to be the more dependable tackle, is 290 soaking wet. You know what I mean? Like, it's going to take some time for Notre Dame's offense to gel. So this idea that they're going to come out and be like the Mike Martz 2000 Rams or something like that is ridiculous. You know, like, it's going to be a low scoring, blue collar affair. And you hope that Golden and this extremely veteran defense is going to carry this team to a win. So, and I think that's going to happen, because I think the big difference maker is similar to the Duke game last year, where it was a real fight against Elko. This time we've got Riley Leonard on our team. So in the second half, when all the chips are, all the chips are down, I hope to see Riley Leonard running by linebackers instead of running by Maris Leofau. So I think you got to have faith that that's going to happen. I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I seriously doubt they're going to put up 40 points against Texas A&M. But the goal is, you pay Denbrock, over $3 million to come in, or I think it's like around $3 million to come in and be your offensive coordinator. Figure out a way to get to 27 points, and let's walk out of Kyle Field with a victory. So, and that's that. And if you can't do that, then your season's in peril. So time to man up and win this football game. You're not playing Ohio State. You're not playing Georgia. You're playing a middling top 25 team, and go out and get a win.
Andrew, you know what else? Man, you just triggered something I haven't really thought about, which is surprising, because I've thought about this a million different ways. Think about it this way too. You're like, what you're going to get out of this Notre Dame defense and what they could bring to every game and every moment, and they're going to be ready to play. Fine. So that you feel good about that. Every week you should feel good about that as a Notre Dame person. But on the offensive side, you're talking about figuring out a way to get this done, even in unideal circumstances with that line or whatever. The other big part of this, Andrew, is this would be different if this all happened like between game 1 and 2 or 2 or 3, where you have 3 days of practice and you're playing another game. This all happened with like 3.5, 4 weeks almost till game time. For you to be able to account for some of this and be able to work through it or around it or figure out what you're really going to be capable of, I think that matters to me a little bit, that you have all this time to kind of work with this and try and figure out and gauge where you're at and what you need to do.
Yeah, I think that's a good point, because, I think a lot of people have a ton of faith in Al Golden. I really like Al Golden. You'd think that he's going to have a good defensive game plan. Now, the way I think we lose this game, if we want to just be really honest about this, is if they come out and play like how they played against Louisville and Clemson, where they did turn over the football. Because you cannot go on the road in a hostile atmosphere, turn the football over, and think you're going to win the football game. So I think that's the key. Is like, don't get too cute, Denbrock. Like, remember when Parker he had like a 3 running backs in the backfield. He tried to do like this counter play to Chris Tyree, and the dude fumbled it, and it was game over after that happened. So don't get too cute. You've got Riley Leonard. Let him run around and make some plays. So that's the first thing. The second thing is, we lost against Clemson in large part because of Hartman. There's no doubt about that. But on the defensive side, specifically in the first half, the D-line just did not show up, and Clemson ran the football down our throat. So, like, Riley Mills, you got nominated as the captain of the team, which I thought was total BS because Howard Cross is the heart and soul of that defensive line. Time for you to step up, man.
Andrew,
you need to have a game like Howard.
Wait,
yeah.
So you want him to have no offensive captains? Because there was 5 and only 1 on offense, and it was him. So you wanted to go all defensive captains and screw the offense. I like it.
I just thought
I like it.
I thought Riley Mills had no business being a captain over Howard Cross. I mean, it's just ridiculous. Now, since he is a captain, why don't you step up and have a 12-tackle game like Howard Cross did against Duke? We need that because I think the only way Texas A&M beats us is if they win the turnover battle and our D-line doesn't show up and they can actually run the football on us. Because I just cannot. I mean, if you looked at these A&M wide receivers, I just cannot think that Morrison and hopefully Gray are going to get beat. I think the one wild card is this guy Moose Muhammad. He has never broken out yet for A&M, but the dude is fast. And if you look at his highlight reel, he's made some pretty sick plays. Can our new nickel Jordan Clark D him up? I think he can. I mean, I'm not that worried about Moose Muhammad. So it's really like Elko's trying to come in there and say, hey, we're going to establish the dominance on the line of scrimmage. And I think they're going to try to run the football. And if you look at Colin Klein's last 2 years at Kansas State, they ran the football really effectively. So I think that's what they're going to try to do. I don't think they have that good of an offensive line, so our D line has to, show up and be men. This is going to be a hard hitting blue collar fight, and and I like our chances because we have guys in their 5th and 6th year on defense. These are real men, guys who should be in the NFL. So we got to win this football game.
Yeah, it's man, there's just a lot. There's a lot to wait and see. And a lot of people are going to be really right, and a lot of people are going to be really wrong, Andrew. It's going to be a long next week. We'll see if we have a night show tomorrow, and then give me a call back leading into the game next week. Anything else?
Yeah, just one last thing. I think it's ridiculous that geez, why am I drawing a blank here? Our tight end who's injured, why he if he goes full, if he play Mitchell Evans, if Mitchell Evans is ready to go, which I'm a little worried about because he just is not suiting up that much here toward the end of spring. But let's say he goes, without any restrictions, week 1 for Texas A&M. It's totally ridiculous that he's a captain. You know how hard that is to come back. When you're that big, to come back from a serious knee injury, and for him to get back for his team to try to win that football game. We don't need him all year. We need him in the big games. Remember, a lot of people are like, oh, what about Eli Raridan? What about this? What about Mitchell Evans when we were getting our butts kicked by Ohio State and that guy was catching everything? We need him in the big games. And so if that guy worked his butt off to get back, for week 1, he should have been rewarded by being a captain. Not Riley. I like Riley Leonard, but he's a mercenary. He's a hired hand. He's in here literally just for the summer, and you give him the captainship. That makes me worried a little bit about what the team's priorities are.
I thought that was interesting.
But,
I brought that up. I brought that up as an interesting point as well, how you only had one offensive captain, and it's a guy you just got here. And I don't know whether that matters or not. I don't know whether I'm reading into that or whether there's something there that isn't. But I did find it interesting. Andrew, thanks a lot, man. It's going to be a long, interesting next week, and we're going to have a lot of content. So we'll see you. Thanks.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
Yep. DiGiorno, that's what it was. It was a DiGiorno. Give me the pizza. $10 offer from my main man, Martinez. Johnny, I think Denbrock will adjust as he sees that he needs to. My bad the other day. I was just a bit frustrated. Go Irish. My main man, Martinez, I did get asked about it by your nemesis. And he wanted to talk about, what happened. And I just said, apparently you guys had a little dust up. So, but I'm glad you're feeling better. I'm glad you're in a good mind space, buddy. And I know you're going to be fired up for the game. Pat says, why are we talking about captains, the players voting? I don't know. I just think it's interesting. And it's always a news note that's going to get attention. It's Notre Dame captains. And when they get announced, there's going to be articles wrote about it and everything like that. I did ask Goolsby on the Patreon in the modern day and age. 832, I'm coming to you. 240, I want to try and get to you as well. We haven't talked in months. Pat, I did ask Goolsby, I said, this day and age, is this captaincy more symbolic? Is it more symbolic, or are there practical responsibilities to being a captain in this day and age? And I don't have the answer to that. And I don't know who does, but I'm just saying that's a question I have. Is this largely symbolic, or are there actual practical obligations that come with being a Notre Dame captain? I don't know. All right, 832. I think this is our Texas A&M caller. Let's see if we could get some intel from the other side where they're coming from. Let's see. Pat says, played football in high school, Gilmore, safety and wide receiver. Pat, I'm worried for the championship dreams of that high school team. I'm sincerely worried. 832, what's going on? Welcome to the program.
Hi, John. Great to be on the program. Short-time listener, first-time caller. Man, first I want to start by how much I love the show. I've only been watching to get reconnaissance against Notre Dame, and watching the show has given me tremendous insight in take the pulse of the fan base and see how things are going over there. So I love the show. I plan on continuing to watching even after this game, first and foremost.
Oh, man. I appreciate it. First off, I appreciate it, man. It's always healthy to get a different mix in here. I wouldn't really like it if it was all Notre Dame all the time like that. That's not a healthy environment, like, because you're in this think tank where everybody kind of is on the same side. Like, I like trying to mix it up. And I have no overlap with you guys or most of the SEC. Like, the most overlap I have with the SEC is arguing with LSU people because of the Kelly connection. Like I just don't have a lot of overlap. So it's really, this is a healthy dynamic, and I'm open to anywhere you want to take this.
Yeah, I want to start with three things. First, I'll talk about the environment of the game. I know Notre Dame is used to playing in hostile environments, so I'm sure that's not going to be anything too crazy. But I guess my biggest concern is with y'all's young offensive line that's lacking experience, how they're going to respond specifically, since this would be most of their first times in a hostile environment like this. Also, in College Station, it gets very hot and humid. It'll be well into the upper 90s during that game. And it'll be nighttime, so it'll be cooling off, but it will be very hot, very raucous. The energy in College Station is through the roof with the new regime of Elko. As everyone knows, he was a former D coordinator there, and a lot of folks wanted him to be hired after Jimbo. So, yeah, it's a very invigorated fan base. Everyone is so excited. Myself, I am tremendously anxious. I feel like both sides of this are very, very anxious going into it because we both know each other's potential. So just very excited about the environment, very excited to see how Notre Dame responds to it, especially that offensive line. It gets very loud, obviously, when their offense is going to be on the field. So, yeah, I expect a bunch of false starts on that note. Reasons for A&M optimism. Obviously, the defense, everyone keeps talking about the D-line, which is great. You got Shamar Stewart, you got Shamar Turner, you got Nick Scorton. And in the middle, you have Albert Regis and DJ Hicks. So they have tremendous depth on the defensive line, much like what I'm hearing about Notre Dame's defensive line. So that goes without saying. So I think it's going to be a battle. It really depends on how that left tackle holds up going against Nick Scorton the whole time. But excited to see how that plays out. I think a lot of people are not speaking enough about the A&M secondary upgrades. Mike Elko, as soon as he got in, completely scrapped the old secondary, retained the good pieces, but brought in guys that he has scouted and thought that would make big impacts. So I'm really expecting the secondary to have a big impact. We got Desrick coming from Alabama transfer. We have Will Lee from Kansas State. He's the blanket, they call him. So I feel I'm really safety. We have good safeties as well, good nickel as well. So defense, I feel much better about the A&M defense this year than I did last year. And they didn't have too bad of a defense in years past. The secondary was horrible in years past, but I expect a big improvement there.
Is there anything defensively that causes you any anxiety? Like, is there any level or part of that defense where you're like, I don't trust this, or I don't think we have the depth there? Like, what would that be? Because I think we're entering this with a lot of a certain baseline level of respect for the defensive front. But is there anything that gives you a little anxiety?
Yes, the linebacker. Torian York is returning. He was a true freshman last year. He's going to be the primary play caller. He's the heart and soul of the defense. He's great. He is undersized, but he will be in the right place at the right time. I'm concerned about your tight ends. You guys have huge tight ends, and at that linebacker spot, while we have Torian York secured, we're not sure. We have question marks about the next linebacker. We have good options, but until it's proven in the game, it's kind of a question mark. So I'm really concerned about the linebacker matches up on the tight ends for you guys.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm concerned about our tight ends because I want to make sure Evans is fully healthy. He's been kind of in practice, but not taking a lot of hits after recovering from his ACL. And Eli Raridan is like 6'7" and a monster. So those should be mismatches for Notre Dame and down in distance or red zone situations. Can I flip this over? Really good caller, by the way. Thanks for giving us this insight. If we flip this over to the offensive side of the ball, that's where I'm really, really intrigued here both ways with Notre Dame and you guys. Okay, so
yeah, that's where my biggest anxiety is with A&M with the offensive line. The offensive line is not going to be as bad as people are expecting. They're returning a bunch of starters and people with experience, and there is depth there. There's competition still going on for that right guard and left right guard spot, and I think left guard as well. It's kind of up in the air, but I think they have the size, but can they pull it together? With Jimbo last year, I'm not sure. I don't think he ran things the right way. I think Colin Klein is going to put the players in a position to do well, but that's my biggest question mark. And also the receivers I mentioned in the chat. We have good receivers. I think Noah Thomas will be our X factor. Everyone's relying on him. He's a big 6'6" guy, has huge range, huge catch radius. But you guys have lockdown corners. So we also have Moose Muhammad, like someone had mentioned. We have Micah Tees. But yeah, I think receiver is going to be another factor that I'm concerned about. As well as running back, we lost.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask. I got a couple things on offense I want to hit specifically. What does this do with that running back injury? Was he going to be? I was having trouble figuring out. Was he going to be like 1A in a rotation? He was going to be heavily involved, but it didn't seem like he was the absolute go-to back. Like, what was that going to be a shared number one role he was a part of, and where do you go next?
Precisely, yeah. It was going to be a share number one role with, I think it was Amari Daniels, Ruben Owens, and the other guy escapes me at the moment. But yeah, it was 1A, 1B role. I don't think he was going to be the starter, Ruben Owens, but I think he was going to be heavily involved. They had a nice tandem last year with the running back spot. But we're still in a good spot. We still have Amari Daniels. We still have E.J. Smith, Emmitt Smith's son, transferring from Stanford, who can carry the ball. He's really good at catching the pass out of the backfield. So I don't think we're taking a big step back. I'm only concerned about depth going forward, but I think we'll be covered as far as fresh legs goes in the first game.
Okay, and then what about Connor Wegman? Okay, like a 5-star guy out of high school. Then he had the injury, like kind of out of sight, out of mind. Now recovering, coming back. What do A&M people feel about him? Do they expect him to hit the ground running and off we go? Or will there be like a little lag period for him to get back into the mix? Like, what are the thoughts on Connor?
Connor did play in the spring coming off a foot injury against Miami, I believe it was. So he wasn't 100% during the spring, but it was important to get Elko wanted him to practice in order to get some reps, learn the new offense. And I think it made a big impact on the team overall. Expectations are high. A lot of people are thinking he could be a top SEC quarterback. He could potentially be a Heisman quarterback if the offensive line holds up. If you watch the tape last year on offensive line, it was horrible. They were just letting guys come through all the time. And even with that being the case, Connor still delivered the ball. He got the ball out quick. From what I hear in training camp, he's spot on. He's just an all-around good quarterback. People always say, I keep hearing that he's injury prone, but he's only had the one injury. He came in as a true freshman and played the last 4 games. And then the next season played 4 games before getting injured. So he only has 8 games on tape, but those were good 8 games considering the circumstances he was playing in. So
yeah.
The issue with both sides is you can't replicate game speed in the game environment. And just seeing how both teams respond in those environments, especially the offense. I feel good about the defense on both sides. They're both going to bring their lunch pail. It's going to be a very, very defensive heavy game. I'm really interested to see what the turnover margin will be. I think it's the offenses on both sides, in particular the offensive lines, that'll be the biggest factor between these two teams.
Now, let me ask this. We're talking about the offensive side of it. And so you feel like the offensive line may be a little more sturdy than maybe what's out there in the ether or the common thinking. Let me ask this. What about Colin Klein coming in here, making tweaks to this offense? What do you expect to be different? And do you expect there to be a run up for them to install all this and get comfortable with the new system and everything, get up to speed with whatever Colin Klein's trying to run? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, and that's what concerns me. I believe in the long term, A&M will be fine. From what I hear, based on camp, he does bring a lot of plays in that the players really had to take some time to learn, and they struggled with a little bit against this defense during training camp and in the summer. But I feel good, but that first game is critical. I think his strengths are adapting to what he has. I think Jimbo liked to do it one way and was going to be that way regardless of the matchup. Whereas from watching Colin Klein, I think he's more adaptable and he'll take whatever the defense is giving him. And along with Mike Elko, I think they specialize in adapting week to week with whoever they're playing to their strengths and their opponent's weaknesses.
Yeah.
The issue is I don't think Notre Dame doesn't have a lot of weaknesses right now. So I expect him to have a nice blend. I'm hoping we focus on the run, and then do passes. But we'll see. It's gonna go down by down.
Yeah, and a couple more things from you. I really appreciate your time here, willingness to jump in the Notre Dame's area here. What about overall? We have our little Always Irish bingo sheet, and on it all summer was Marcus Freeman is year 3, game 1, and Elko's year 1, game 1. What about the operation overall? What is the anxiety of will this? We all believe in Mike Elko, and he was at Notre Dame. We respect Mike Elko. Really great guy too, by the way. We totally respect him on and off the field. But the question seems to be, is it too much to expect week 1, game 1, that he has this put together enough to beat a solid Notre Dame team? What are the thoughts about that overall, getting all this ramped up?
My feeling from the A&M perspective is we're playing with house money. It's year 1. I don't think the fans are expecting.
Yep.
I think we'd be happy with the 8-4, 9-3. So we're not expecting to not necessarily lose the game, but if we lose and make it close, A&M would be satisfied.
Yeah.
Sounds kind of like a loser mentality, but we have realistic expectations.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. And if you get this one and you win it, then you feel like you're way ahead of schedule. Is it that, you just a feather and then you're like, okay, now we're starting way further ahead from where we thought we were, that kind of thing?
Absolutely. Yeah. The pressure is definitely on Marcus Freeman to deliver.
Yeah.
And then coming into a hostile environment.
I totally agree with you.
I mean, you know better than anyone, but goodness gracious, I couldn't imagine that job.
Dude, it's year 3. His first game, his first year at Notre Dame was at Ohio State where he played. You want to talk about the first game pressure. But like you said, everybody kind of understood the circumstances, and I don't think there were the expectations. Now you're in year 3, game 1, and it's a lot different for Marcus. I got 2 more things I'm going to ask you, and we'll let you go on with your day. Number 1 is, it's very, very interesting the way people around the country perceive Notre Dame. They're not a full-time conference member. It's kind of hard to judge them year in, year out, sometimes from the outside. What are the majority of the fans and the local media beat guys, how are they talking about the Notre Dame matchup? Is it like little old Notre Dame, they don't have the talent, Northern team, haven't won anything since the 80s, whatever? Or is it, hey man, you better take this serious, they're bringing a good defense in here? What is the main thought lines from the fan and the media about Notre Dame?
From the A&M and SEC's perspective, I think Notre Dame is always considered dangerous because they don't have a week in, week out tough schedule. When you are in the SEC and each week is a battle, Arkansas can beat you, South Carolina can beat you, Mississippi State can beat you, Missouri can beat you. You're always looking to that next week. You're knowing it's going to be a grind, whereas Notre Dame doesn't usually have that same pressure week in and week out. So they're dangerous because they can focus more getting ready for the big games that they do have versus having to anticipate a battle each week throughout. So they're respectable for sure, and they're well coached. It's a blue blood program. I'm going to go to South Bend and watch the game next year when it's played in Notre Dame, so I'm very excited about that. But with the strength of schedule, I feel like they don't get respect because they only have to prove it 2 or 3 times a year in the big games.
That's okay. Interesting. Yeah, that makes sense. And then I got to end with this. Man. Listen, we're the Catholic school. We get a lot of this, to recruits, negatively recruiting. If you're interested in Notre Dame, they're going to turn you into a priest and they're going to make you go to church and do all that. We get accused of all this cult-like stuff. Can you make me feel better about those white overall wearing male cheerleaders? What the hell's the deal? What's the deal with these weirdos? You got to make me feel better about them. Explain to me the deal. What is the deal? It's creepy.
Yeah, A&M is definitely the top of the cult when it comes to overall fan bases.
What is the
young
deal?
leaders in the white uniforms.
What is the deal?
They serve a very strategic purpose.
What is it? To
very
be creeps?
Purpose.
Is it recruiting?
Everyone's bought in.
Is it recruiting? That's the purpose. Recruiting other members to the cult is a very important purpose. Dude.
Yeah, they serve a purpose. And everyone drinks the Kool-Aid upon their freshman year, and you just accept it and let it wash over you.
Oh man, it seems like it, but I'm having so much fun with it because usually we're the ones that get that reputation being like the Catholic school, right? With like the religious undertones and the spirituality being a part of it. But within this dynamic, all of those cheers are just kind of awkward and weird, man. Do you understand from the outside how we're like, what is that?
Absolutely. But A&M, they embrace it. Aggies embrace it. They love it. That's their strength. The networking with the university, the cult-like thing. It really is a silent factor that a lot of people they laugh at, but it does have its advantages.
Yeah, and I get it with it, and it's tradition. And if you're a part of it, you're a part of it. You know what I mean? Like, and if you're not, you're never going to understand it. Notre Dame's like that in a lot of ways too. But I had to give you a hard time about it just because it's so cringy from the outside. Some of what you see on social media or whatever, and it's just entertaining. I had to bring it up. I couldn't let you go without it. Anything else you want to mention or cover, man? I really do appreciate this a lot. You calling in, you're being very, very fair and balanced about things, not trolling or anything. Like, this was a really, really productive call, man. Like, I genuinely appreciate getting the outside perspective. I'll give you any time left that you want to finish with. Anything. You got a prediction or, any final thoughts, whatever you want to do, man.
Absolutely. Like I mentioned earlier, I think it's going to be a defensive battle. I think everything's going to hinge on the offensive line. I think we're not talking enough about the special teams. You kind of got my heart racing with your punter. You say he has a weird spin on the ball, and it could potentially be a problem with the receivers back there catching it. We have a true freshman, Terry Bussey, 5-star guy. He's a dog. He'll play on both sides of the ball, but they're expecting him to be the punt returner this season. And I'm a little nervous about putting the trust in a true freshman his first game against the punter that has a weird spin on the ball. I'm concerned about a fake punt. I think they're going to throw the kitchen sink at this game. Notre Dame will.
Do you realize
to make sure they eke out with the win?
Do you realize that punter's size for Notre Dame? The story with that, we went to Australia and pulled him out of the professional Australian rugby league, and he's like 6'5", 240, I guess, and he kicks the ball like 55 yards with a knuckle. I don't know, man. I don't know what to expect either. It's weird.
Yeah. The Aussies are built differently there. But, I think it's going to come to special teams. Game prediction, I'm thinking of 23-17. Which team wins? I really can't call it. I would like A&M to win, obviously, but I do think it's going to be a low-scoring affair.
Yep.
And all eyes will be on Kyle Field August 31st.
Yeah, man, this is going to be what an exciting way to start the year. And again, I really, really appreciate you. Now I'm getting called always Aggies here in the chat for being too nice to the opponent, but I really do appreciate you giving me a call, man. And feel free to touch base again next week if you want to call in when the game gets shorter. I would love to put you on again, man. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Have a good one. What a nice guy. Like, I can't even be mad at that guy. And then with the Ohio State thing, you guys give me a hard time. And then these people are nice. All right. We're going to wrap up with Terrence is coming up, regular caller, and then 574. They're going to be the last two. So we're going to go 618 and we're going to go 574 to wrap up the show. What are we even talking about? Notre Dame's ranked 7th in the country with national championship or bust as a goal. A&M's rebuilding. They're saying things like trust the process day by day. Chris H., why are they favored then? Like, that's the problem, Chris H. I get what you're saying. Why are they favored then? Nobody believes in Notre Dame? Ryan Elliott, $5 holler. Thank you very much. John's getting soft. He's lost that fire in his eyes after hearing about Deuce and the O-line news. I'm not going to lie. It's taking the wind out of my sails. I want all arrows pointing up. I want all arrows in Notre Dame land pointing up for once in my stupid life. That means recruiting overall pointing up, quarterback overall pointing up, and then you go win this damn football game. I do not feel like everything's trending up. The O-line's going backwards, and they're telling me you're O-line but you got nothing but freshmen who weigh 186 pounds. You're about to lose your quarterback. All the receivers don't want to come here, and your best defensive guy went to Michigan. Make me feel better about it. I dare you. Make me feel better about those details. Son of a buck. 618, make me feel better about it. And then 574, wrap up the show, man. What am I being too nice to the A&M guy?
Yeah, man. There's always Aggies, man.
Hey, I like getting a call from the enemy. It mixes up the show.
Dude, I was down there in Texas for 10 years. The Aggies have never been good since I've been down there. I wasn't down there during the I think I was down there during the Johnny Manziel. That was probably their better years when Johnny Manziel was there. They are overrated. They're an overrated program. The only reason that they're the favorite because the oil money pumped into Vegas.
Yeah.
They are not beating Notre Dame, man. That game is gonna be they're rebuilding. They're in the rebuilding process. And everybody I speak to in Texas, they're rebuilding. A&M is rebuilding. They're trying to get as good as UT is. They really not really worried about this game. They really, like you guys say, we worried about the SEC. Man, Notre Dame gonna beat them by 2 touchdowns.
Ooh, baby. Do you know what a good mood this call-in show is going to be in after that if it happens? My word.
Man, hey, John, it's not going to happen. It's when it happens.
So wait, dude, okay. Explain to me then. You have that confidence level in Notre Dame. How does the betting line? Yeah. How does the betting line end up now? Notre Dame's a 3-point underdog.
Because everybody betted all that oil money betted on all the oil money betted on A&M. So the line flipped from 1.5 to Notre Dame. But when it first came out, it was Notre Dame favored by 1.5 points. In the last 3 or 4 weeks, the line jumped all of a sudden because of all the Aggie fans is betting in Vegas.
Is it faith in A&M or lack of faith in Notre Dame? That's the part. Like, I understand. I understand.
A&M fans,
like, man. I understand the mechanics of what makes. I understand the mechanics of what makes a line move. But I'm trying to understand the philosophy and the thought behind it, whether it's belief in A&M or a lack of belief in Notre Dame. And it felt like once Jagasaw,
the A&M fans believe it more.
I think
the A&M fans believe it more than the Notre Dame fans.
The offensive line thing had to move it too. Don't you think that once the Jagasaw thing happened and then all the stories started hitting, then that's more really reason. Yeah.
Once they seen Jagasaw go down, they really started bidding. Man, I think the Nap kid will be okay, man. The offensive line will be okay. I mean, that's the least of my worries right now.
It is. It's the most of my worries. What do you mean it's the least of your worries? It's the most of my. What do you mean? It's the most of my worries. Huh?
I think this offensive line will play good enough against A&M. You know, we worried about the offensive line last year. During the bowl game, man, and you see what happened, man. They didn't give up. I know that they were playing a depleted Oregon State team, but still, you know, if you worried about the offensive line, you worried about the offensive line.
Right. Man, I love your.
No matter who you play.
I love your confidence, and you are right though. They don't have to be great. They don't have to be perfect. You just got to be enough to function, get a win in this game, and then figure it out from there and develop against a lighter schedule. I'm with you on that part. You don't have to be great. You just got to do enough to get by and survive this one night, and then we'll figure everything else out after that.
Yes, and that's all we doing. That's all we asking, man. Y'all, the Notre Dame fans, except for myself, is acting like that. We got to go win the Joe Moore Award, the first game of the season.
Yeah,
that's not gonna happen. We got the better quarterback of the two programs. We probably got the better receivers of the two programs. He's talking about a freshman. I mean, I know freshman skill players. It doesn't really matter, but you're talking about you're dependent on a freshman to be everything for you against a great defense. I think our defense is better than A&M. All we hear about is their defensive line. We got everything on defense. I don't think they move the ball that well against Notre Dame.
Yeah, it's a really good point. I don't know how they're going to move the ball. The only thing is, sometimes last year Notre Dame didn't do the best job against the run. Is that in any Notre Dame fans' minds that every once in a while they wouldn't defend the run as solid as a defense, as good as they are overall, should be able to defend the run? Is that a problem in anybody else's mind? It's a little bit in my mind here. I feel good about the secondary. I need you to make sure you don't get gashed by any of these run plays.
Yeah, that too, but think about it, man. Their best running back has went down. Their offensive line was horrible last year. Probably got the same returning guys on offensive line. Man, there's no way they I don't even think they can run the ball against Notre Dame.
Oh, man. Well, if they can't run the ball against Notre Dame and we feel good about our secondary, what are they going to be able to do against Notre Dame?
Man, pack it in, man. Pack it in.
Dude, I like your confidence. I need it to be accurate. I need it to all play out that way. But so you're telling me maybe we're over worrying about that offensive line? I want to hear it. I want to hear it. Make me feel better about it. I'm here for it.
John, every single year that Notre Dame comes out, last year it was the defensive line. This year it's the offensive line. And then we get an All-American on the defensive line. We damn near had 2 All-Americans on the defensive line. We was okay, man. Let's just get to their quarterback, get him rattled, and man, get them out of the game.
Ooh, baby, man, I like your plan here, and I want it to go according to plan. And then you know what I want? I want you to call me on the postgame show and go, John, told you so. I want you to have that moment, man, where you're going, all you people were doubting Notre Dame, and look who is right. I need it, and I want it. I need it.
Once we go up 10 to 14 to nothing, they're going to get frustrated, man. Just like every A&M every year is high. Everybody talk about how highly overrated that Notre Dame is every year. A&M is in the rankings every single year, and by the 3rd or 4th game, they're out the rankings. They're done.
Yeah, it's man, this is going to be a long week. It's going to be a long week.
Elko, you took the wrong job.
Oh, man.
You should stay at Duke. Nothing against you, but you took the wrong job.
Oh, boy. This is going to be a long week. We're going to get some football tomorrow, and then it's going to be a long week and a long build-up. Anything else on your mind, man? I appreciate you. Dude, you're the one guy I think you've called more than anybody else since the history of this call-in show. You're approaching almost 200 on the dial, 196 calls as of right now, man. I really appreciate your loyalty.
I'm just saying, man, I'm gonna be honest, man. I don't see a game on Notre Dame schedule that they lose, that they actually could lose this year,
man,
including the Florida State game. I don't see it, you know. But I still think that, you know, Marcus Freeman has that every year.
Yeah.
You know, that one game that he gives away. So you know, that's the only reason I'm saying 11-1. But he will have this team completely ready. He has the experience. He has the experience of going into a stadium and going into, you know what I'm saying, the Horseshoe a couple years ago. Even though it was his first year, he has that experience. And he has that experience of being up at the Horseshoe as well. So I think once they get up at A&M, I don't think they take their foot off with Denbrock.
Oh man, you're building me a roadmap to joy in my miserable Notre Dame existence. That's what you're doing. You know what, dude? I have a couple fun things planned if we do win this game for the post-game show. A part of me just wants us to get through it so I can pull those out and not have to be depressed, man. It's going to be a long week. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, man. Anything on the way out? And then you got to hit me up next week leading into the game and then on the post game too, man. Anything else going into this weekend we need to know? What else do we need to think about?
Man, I just think, man, just Notre Dame fans, just calm down, man. We're going into the 12th man has been overrated since the 90s. So let's the 12th man haven't been anything since the 90s.
Yeah.
No, let's just calm down. Let's go and get this win.
I like it, man. Thanks for the call and your loyalty, man. Have a good last weekend without football stress, okay?
All right, man.
Take care, man. Oh, man, I love his energy. Loyal guy, too, man. He calls me all the time. 574 is going to finish out the show. $2 holler from the Wine and Cheese. ND fans have real jobs. A&M does betting for a job. Man, I'm telling you, this is getting dicey. There's a lot of different ways to see this game. There is from the ultra positive to the ultra negative. I don't know what the realities are. 574. We're going to wrap up the show with you. Thanks for the call. What's on your mind?
Hey, what's up, John?
Not much.
What's up, John?
Oh man, I'm just riding the emotional wave of Notre Dame football. What do you make of it? What do you think?
Well, that caller right there, I mean, he's about spot on. I mean, that last one, I personally see this game being like the Wisconsin game.
Okay.
You know how Notre Dame won the Wisconsin game, right?
Well, I know that they had a special teams play that really helped them win the Wisconsin game. I know that was a part of it. You got that little boost of a touchdown when you needed it.
And turnovers.
Yep. And you know what, man? People aren't talking about this as much. I bring up week one random inherentness, things that happen in game one, week one that won't happen the rest of the year because you're not quite synced up with your communication, your timing, your rhythm. And all it takes is one or two little dumb mistakes to happen that are never going to happen later in the year when you're more put together. And it could alter a win or loss that shapes your whole year. That is going to be a part of this game. Who is more prepared for the week one nuance and inherent randomness and make some of those mistakes happen for the other people and not by yours?
Exactly. And in my opinion, and I think I told you this on your Saturday Night Live show, I think it was last week or so. But the way it's Walter. You probably remember me, hopefully.
Yeah.
But I think it comes down to which defense is on the field less. Whichever defense is on the field less is the team that wins.
Yeah, that's a good point too. And you know what else too? This makes me think about Notre Dame's defense and Al Golden saying he feels like they're going to be able to rotate 10, 11, 12 guys in that defensive front to keep guys fresh. I like that a lot. If they feel confident they can do that big of a rotation without having a drop off in production that hurts them, that's going to be a big deal when you're going into this heat and all this. You're going to need that kind of rotation.
Definitely. On a side note, I almost got my man cave ready.
Oh, I like that. What are you adding? Any new features? What do you got? A beer tap in there right by the couch, or what are you doing?
Shoot, all I have is my computer, a football of the 2018 season, the Xero Watts autograph on the mini helmet, my model train layout, whole bunch of train stuff on the pictures and whatnot on the wall, memorabilia, a Norfolk Southern clock that lights up, a Rudy jersey, a picture of the stadium.
Well, now let me ask this.
During the Ball State game?
What do you have that you're going to break if we lose this game? Maybe that's a better question. You got anything you could break?
Oh, man, I need a rage room. This stuff is too expensive. Dude. Oh, yeah, I got a 24-inch TV.
Bro,
and
listen, the rage room is the realest thing, man. You know how much I've thought about? I thought about making that a business where I go around and collect free stuff at like garage sales or that people are going to throw out and then charge people to go in a room and just break it for like 20 minutes. You pay me. No, I thought about it. It's a business. You call it the rage room.
No, they stadium is a rage room.
Yeah, and you buy like a bunch of cheap crap and then you put it all down there and then you charge people and you give them like baseball bats and stuff to break the stuff and get all their rage of their life about their family and about their boss out. Like you just go in there and you get to break everything you want. Play music, have speakers that makes you pumped up, whatever music gets you pumped up, and then you just get to break everything. I've thought about it. It's brilliant.
I know. I also have did you hear me when I told you I have my Rudy jersey hanging up?
Yeah.
And I also, it's an autographed one too. And I also have a picture of Tim O'Neill, who was a walk-on running back. And a picture of something me and my friend at by Touchdown Jesus back in Pittsburgh 2010.
Well, there you go, man. You got it. It sounds like you got a pretty good setup there. So I don't know, man. We got one more week. The stress is real. I don't know how it's going to go. Give me the keys to the game. What are a couple keys you want me to think about over the weekend? I'm putting you on the spot.
Get a couple of turnovers. Perhaps, remember I told you about getting a turnover really ain't enough to satisfy me.
Yeah.
Take it back.
I like that.
Take it back for a touchdown. And don't call your name.
I like that. I'm
just waking up, by the way.
I like that very much. Well, dude, I appreciate it.
Back.
I appreciate the loyalty. You wake up and then call me. People thought maybe you woke up and smoked and then called me. I wasn't sure which way it went.
I don't smoke. All right. Friends I go skateboarding with, yeah, get them out of them smoke. But I don't.
Oh, well, that's good. Your lungs appreciate it. So I don't know, man. This is going to be very, very interesting. Are you going to give me a call if I go live again tomorrow night?
There's a good chance I do. Good chance I don't. Just remember it's your skateboard friend Walter from earlier for the spring game.
Oh yeah, baby. Dude, and speaking of tailgates, I'm ready for our tailgate for Miami, Ohio. That's going to be a good one. I mean, every time we do this, it grows and we get more people. We're party for Miami, Ohio. The only thing is, it better be a party while we're still undefeated, or it's going to kill the vibe. I need no losses on. You think I'm laughing? I need no losses on the ledger by the time we have that party for me to be able to enjoy it. I need a 0 in the loss column for this to be an appropriate, fun tailgate.
Yeah, I feel if Notre Dame beats the Aggies, that's a 12-0 season, because this is really like, who's going to beat Notre Dame if the Aggies can't do it? I mean, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
DJU at quarterback for Florida State, that's not going to cut it. USC is going to be too beat up from their Big Ten schedule.
That's a good thought.
So many people are worried that so many people are thinking that Notre Dame is going to go be at the Coliseum as 10-1 or 11-0, and they're going to lose USC. First off, USC has not beaten a 10-win Notre Dame team since 2006.
I think the problem becomes everybody's worried that if you lose the first game, what are the odds you're going to practically be able to win 11 in a row if you're going to lose this one? Like, that's the fear, is that if you're 0-1, it's just really hard to go 11-0 the rest of the way with no stumbling blocks. If you start out 0-1, you just have no margin for error, and then there's pressure in every single moment. From then on, there's big time pressure.
Not to mention the last 6 times, like I told you, when Notre Dame started off 0-1, straight to shit.
Yeah, see, there you go. Like there's a little bit of a something to that. 2018 maybe a good way to look at it with the Michigan to open it, and it was a big indicator marking point of the year. I know that game was at home. Yeah, so it's a big moment, man. Anything else on the way out? Thanks for calling me on a Friday. Yeah, you can have the last word of the show. What you got?
That's one thing I find interesting. I told you earlier how I got to operate a steam train.
Yeah.
The time I did that 5 years ago. I did that back in 2018 after the Michigan game, and Notre Dame went on to go undefeated. So maybe that might be my good luck charm, hopefully.
Hey, whatever you got to do, I'm fine with. So you do whatever you need to do, buddy. Give me a call back. Give me a call back next week before the game. Let me know if you're still thinking the same way. All right.
Is the Miami, Ohio game going to be the only game you go to, or is there going to be any other games?
The Miami, Ohio is going to be the one I'm throwing the big tailgate for. All the other ones, I don't know what's happening, but that's the one I'm throwing the party for.
Just make it. I mean, my girlfriend did give me the option. The good thing is, my girlfriend and I were invited to go to a wedding. She's given me the option to go to the game. So I appreciate it for that.
You don't do fall weddings, my friend. You just say no. It's just like drugs. It's just like drugs. You just say no. Everybody has priorities. You just say no. It's like the DARE program. You just say no.
Or at least do it during the first bye week.
And I don't want to get into it, but she's giving you the option. What did she give you the option to eat and get in the shower and drive around town too? Come on.
Yeah. Hey, I got you on a good rant that last time we talked fall wedding.
Telling you, man. All right. Have a good weekend. Give me a call next week. Okay.
You too, man.
Yeah. Take it easy.
I will.
Man, I don't know. Sometimes he loses me a little bit with it. We're going into train land, and sometimes he loses me. It's a little concerning. Whoa. What do I got? Allergies or what? All right. Thank you, guys. This was beautiful. I loved it. We have a lot of different. Thank you. Bless you very much. Thank you. We have a lot of different thoughts here. The numbers are getting better. We're just under 200 on these morning shows, concurrent on the high end, allergic to winning. Oh my God, that's so funny. It is just the most Notre Dame answer of all time. Allergic to winning. Oh, that's so funny. Anyways. Just under the morning shows now, just under 200 is the level like we're getting stuck at. If we could get maybe into the season, I want to get it over 200 concurrent, like Monday, Wednesday, Friday on the morning shows. The Saturday night shows are going to go way over that, and they've been over that just because Saturday nights more people are available. But I'm hoping we could ramp this up and get over that 200 concurrent when we get into the games next week. Maybe we could get to that. Allergic to holding down 5-star recruits. Oh man, this is rough. Come on, man. And we'll go from there. And then stay tuned on the special programming for next week. We're gonna have some special guests. We may be going live during the week at night to get more action going. And we're gonna go from there. So. Thank you, guys. Thank you. The show is building momentum again heading into the year. Donations, thank you. Calls, thank you. Chats, thank you. Everybody, I love this ecosystem. Thank you, guys. Have a good weekend. I'll go live if I can. Depends how the kids' party goes tomorrow. I don't know how long it's going to go, how long people are going to stay, what there is to clean up. We got bounce houses to set up. One of the bounce houses has water in it so the kids can go in. I don't know what we need to get all set up. I'll go live if I can. Love you guys. See ya.